Hello, everyone, and welcome to the playoffs of the Aegis Marauders League 2024 Winter Split. My name is Moose, and we got Septi back on the Kesterdas. Septi, welcome back. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much. I am so happy to be back. I was feeling sick for a few weeks, so I didn't want to subject all of you to my sniffly, sneezy coffee nonsense. So I am all good to go. Back for playoff time. I'm super excited. It seems like these groups rounded out in some really interesting fashions. I mean, going today, we have Akuma Scimitars versus Dorado Zeta. They had some pretty solid ends to the season. Dorado Gaming finishing third in their group, and Akuma finishing second. So with the first round of our playoffs, it is going to be, a pretty prototypical bracket format. We'll have, the top seeds playing the bottom seeds, and it all converges together into one. But we got some interesting stuff to talk about, Moose. I'm not sure if we've gotten to draft yet. We have not. Come the second round of playoffs, it will be a little bit interesting for those. For some of you might understand it a little bit better than others. It's very similar to what is done in professional European soccer. It is so the Champions League, they basically have it where they have the round of 16, which would be today's matches. And then once those matches are done, those matches rather are seeded from people coming out of the groups. And once those matches are done, we then will move into our 8-team bracket. And in that bracket, we will have two groups get redrawn against each other. So we will have a top 4 seeded group, and then we will have the 4 non-seeded teams. And so one of those teams in the seeded group will be drawn against one in the unseeded group, and then the bracket will be decided from there, and that will be the final bracket going into the finals of playoffs. But the teams seem to be, getting ready just a little bit, and I kind of wanted to talk about the state of the game, Moose, because it has not been the most exciting of games, or the most exciting of drafts. But luckily, this week will be the last one that we will be seeing Smoldinho. Hopefully for a long time, although I'm pretty sure Riot tried to nerf him last patch and did nothing of the sort. Also making a return, I believe, after tomorrow will be Azir. So for all of you AEL and ACL watchers, the Azir should be enabled for those competitions when you tune in to watch them. But yeah, other than that, yeah, look, doing pretty good. I think we will have some interesting games tonight. I'm not sure if there are any other streams going on doing other games, but stick in, jump into the Discord and find out what games are going on. Check out our community streams. I'm sure there are a bunch of players that have got their games going too. If there's a specific match you want to watch, but I mean, we're getting trolled by these players. They said they were ready.
I got you. No worries. No worries.
I'm trying to find a way to smoothly transition into the draft, and I'm just getting trolled.
I gotta say, it did not work. It didn't work. Your segues in game are a lot better than they are now. And
what about my ad segments?
Yeah, the ad segments. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly right.
But all you had to do is complain a little bit, and then we're able to
they heard me.
Yes, absolutely. Let's go ahead and get started here with this draft step. The Akuma is going to be over on the blue side, second seed coming out of the Ionia division. Dorado Gaming Zeta going third in Shurima, arguably the most competitive of the four divisions, with DGZ and Mario Kart 7 having some really, really tough competition there. So, I mean, in store for a very competitive, very close match, in my opinion, moving into this one. Both of these teams have a lot of heavy hitters. And now let's go ahead and jump into the draft, as the Lee Sin is going to be the first thing taken away out of the jungle for Dorado. I want to pay our attention to the jungle here for both of these teams. I mean, they have gotten some really good value out of their jungle presence in this regular season, and I'd like to see that continue here in this series.
Yeah, Nukes and Riddy, both, really good junglers for this sort of era of jungle where Sundered Sky is really important. I mean, Nukes we've seen consistently play the Lee Sin and the Vi, just a couple of champs that are really, really good at, playing the early mid game skirmishing. Riddy, another prototypical, skirmish heavy jungler, pretty much synonymous with Belveth at this point, as we see the hover again from Zeta. But I want to talk about, just the prospect tonight, because both of these teams did pretty well in their group. Akuma Scimitars tied for the lead. Dorado, I believe, only dropped games to Mario Kart 7, the de facto championship favorite, and I believe they also dropped their game to DZG Sticks. But these are both teams that have rosters of players that can win, I guess, win against anyone on their day. So we will kind of have to see what they are like in game number one, but just a little asterisk there. Akuma is going to be subbing their support for game number one. It'll look like it's King Coney playing support, but in fact it is not. That is Coffee or Cafe Chocolata, however you know him as. They will be playing support for Akuma this game. As we see Volley and Gwen locked in, I'm curious, Akuma is hovering the Smolder Band, will be taken away on this blue side, which means for the rest of the series, I think Dorado have their number when it comes to Smolder priority. But that said, Akuma probably going to ban Smolder every game.
For sure. And I would think that the handshake is going to be there for something other that is also high priority. The Nico is going to be the final ban away from Akuma and from Dorado Gaming Zeta. But you were talking about the power of Smolder, about how impactful it has been here in season 14, and it cannot be understated. The value of getting to that magical stack count, getting that mini elder buff, it cannot be overstated. And hopefully we'll be seeing a little bit of a different angle here moving into 14.6, but something that has been a constant in the AML and in competitive play has been that Varus, and once again it's going to be locked in. Going to go to the bottom lane for Akuma. That's going to be Indigo piloting that.
Yeah, and Dorado, if I know them, it will probably pick a Senna lane to answer. I know a lot of people have been pulling out the Kog'Maw recently. The champion got some changes in the last patch and has been, rising as an answer to this Varus pick. It is another similar like hybrid damage, can go a few different builds, has the AP option, but it will be that Senna Nautilus lock for the Dorado Gaming bot lane. I believe, Indigo and Joker have been really solid this season. Joker, again, transitioning to support. So definitely not, a bad sign for them. Nautilus getting locked in really early does open up a Braum angle should this Akuma side decide to play it. But, oh no, it is going to be potentially the Blitzcrank cover, which is going to be a very aggressive lock-in from Akuma should they decide to go for it. It definitely will start putting the pressure on this Dorado Gaming side to actually just pick more frontline. that Blitzcrank, doesn't really get the same value of pulling as they do, a Senna or a Seraphine. But I mean, Varus Blitzcrank is not a typical lane you see, but it is going to have a whole bunch of pressure. Varus probably going to be just bearing down on the Nautilus and doing a whole bunch of damage. And this is a pick, the Ahri, that has been also popping up in priority the last few weeks, with the the Lich Bane into, or maybe not even Lich Bane, but with the item that gives, I'm forgetting the name of it off the top of my head. She has a new build right now that makes her incredibly hard to play against. She gets so much damage off of her R procs, and she is just able to completely have control over the lane. It does offer Talia as an option if Dorado want to go for it. We will have to see right now if it's in their wheelhouse, but a very solid 3 from the Akuma first picks.
Yeah, and I like I mean, is it something that we've been seeing all season long with Varus compositions, where you pick the Varus early and then you can kind of decide how you want to build your composition around it. If you want to play something that has a little bit more support and oomph for that Varus, you can go for something like the Milio, go for a little bit more Enchanter, go for that backline, or you can go for that big engage with that Blitzcrank. And if you're able to land those rocket grabs in laning phase, you can start getting that Varus ahead really early, and then in the team fight phase you're able to provide a little bit of that front line and be able to have that pick potential as we move into that part of the draft. However, Dorado Gaming Zeta not going to go with that Aatrox. They did hover it, instead going to opt to go for the Orianna here, R3, and that's going to allow for Akuma to ban out the Aatrox. I question the decision for Dorado not to just go for it. I understand why, because I think Orianna still works well with the composition that they go for. I just don't know if it was necessarily needed, as it's going to be taking away some stuff in the top lane. Gragas and Vi also going to be banned out.
Yeah, really interesting to see Dorado Gaming ban out Vi, because I think when you see Orianna Nautilus, I think the first thing you think of as the jungle pick there would be that Vi, especially into a champion like Ahri that is so slippery and trying to get around. I guess Dorado was trying to, the only thing I can think of is that they wanted the Nocturne, which Akuma sniffed out, which is another point and click dash that pairs really nice with Orianna. But now they're kind of left, I think the only thing they're really left with is maybe Wukong or Jarvan. And if they drop, yeah, okay, Xin Zhao is another good one there. It's going to be a little bit harder to stick to the Ahri, but definitely is going to provide additional frontline. Is a champion that's pretty happy getting Blitzcrank hooked as well, given the Crescent Guard will sweep away anyone that's going to do damage to you and keep you safe from damage outside of that ring. So pretty okay answer here. It also is decent setup for the Orianna. Well, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, Vi is fine. Xin Zhao is fine. It's sort of, it's a neutral pick up there. I think Dorado might have wasted a ban.
Yeah, I mean, like, you do at least also get a decent ball delivery system, again, like you were talking about with the Nautilus and the Xin Zhao, so maybe you're able to go in, get to that Varus, get to that potential damage, and then move in. But now what I'm looking for here is, how is Dorado going to get to this backline? How are they going to be able to stop this Varus from just being able to free fire onto your front line and then just be able to out damage you? Because if left to their own devices, there's just no way that any sort of composition, including, you know, a Senna or Orianna, are going to be able to kill them unless you're able to get to that backline and take them out before they do. That's why, again, like you were talking about, really heads up play by Akuma to take away the Nocturne, something that could have potentially gone into that backline. And now we look to go to the top side of the Rift, and I don't know if there's many options available that Dorado can go for that could potentially stop this Varus from being intense and also be able to play decently into that Jax. Really tough call here for Dorado.
Yeah, well, this is a really intelligent thing that Akuma have done here on 4-5. They double picked Udyr and Jax, which are both champions that can flex either the top lane or the jungle depending on the matchup. Olaf will be the final lock-in. It is pretty good into the Udyr. I'm not exactly sure how the matchup is with Jax. I'd imagine it's pretty okay for Olaf. Yes, you get your autos dodged, but the Ragnarok does last long enough for Counter-Strike to reset the Ragnarok timer. It is going to be a matter of skill, though. We have to see where Akuma want to put these two picks. But it is looking like a very dive heavy focused team from Dorado. They have to go front to back pretty hard, and I think this Blitzcrank might have a bit of a rough time because at this point anyone on Dorado for the most part is happy being picked, even the Orianna to a degree. Yes, you're gonna get picked, you're gonna get one shot, but she, if she's able to close the gap, we'll be able to have the shockwave available to her. We'll probably have a spell shield at some point in this game. I imagine Banshees is probably high on the buy list for this Orianna. But the rest of the team, it's going to be interesting to see how Akuma plays this out, because I'm pretty sure what they're going to do is they might just put the Jax in the top lane. They're going to force actually no, Riddy is not the biggest Udyr player, so I'd imagine Udyr might just be going towards the top lane and we'll just stick it out against the Olaf. The Jax will do a nice job, matching the Xin Zhao in dueling power as well as just gank pressure. But I think, ease of execution wise, Dorado sort of has it, just because they have a bunch of people that can tank the blitz hook. They literally have someone who can immune the hook in a dangerous position if they're forced to walk in. I think they have pretty decent side lane match. The Orianna and the Ahri, pretty even. The Olaf and the Udyr should be Olaf favored the later this game goes. And then the bot laners in Senna and Nautilus versus Varus and Blitz. Again, another neutral matchup. It's just going to depend on jungle pressure, or if Blitz or Nautilus can land, meaningful hooks. But I mean, the draft overall is going to be interesting. It does set up for a relatively spicy game, where, again, as I said before, either team really has the opportunity to pop off and sort of make a statement in game number one.
Absolutely, absolutely. I guess the final point that I would give here is, I think when we look at the bottom lane here for Akuma, what do they decide to go for in terms of summoner spells? I mean, Flash obviously for the Varus, but I am now curious to see if they go for something like the Cleanse. I don't know if that would necessarily be needed, considering that it's all knockups or Dorado, or if they go for something like the Ghost, or if they go for something maybe a little bit more defensive like the Exhaust. I don't know. We'll have to see what that is to go for, but it's something that I want to look at when we do actually get into the game, as we are now in the spectator delay. With that being said, though, Septi, let's go ahead and jump into the Dragon Draft once again. Still no Infernal Soul or Rift here as we move into the playoffs. All of the other dragons have been accounted for, but no Infernal Soul. I'll have you start because your substitute for last week did not choose correctly for that last draft, so I'll have you go first.
All right, and before I do, I will just make it known that King Coney will be returning to the top lane in this series, as Cafe Chocolate will be filling in for Zavir in game number one. Respert will be playing support. So we will see the King Coney name on screen. It is not MK7 King Coney, I believe. Is Coney on MK7 or? Yeah, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, for dragons, I'm going to go with Hextech. I just like the dragon.
Gotcha. Fair enough. I am going to go with Cloud, and I'm going to go with Infernal.
All right. I will take Mountain and Ocean.
Alrighty, that's going to leave me with the Chemtech Soul. And with that out of the way, it has been a phenomenal season of Masters level action here at Aegis Marauders. You guys have been so awesome and amazing for you guys coming in throughout the entirety of the season, especially with the early season problems with the spectator delay and all that fun stuff. So we really do appreciate your guys' continued support and patience. And now we get to jump into the final 4 weeks of play. Remember that it is going to be an earlier start to every week, 4 p.m. PST instead of 5. So definitely mark your calendars so you can be here for the entirety of this series. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, game number 1 between Akuma Scimitars and Dorado Gaming Zeta will commence. We'll see you guys soon.
Welcome back, everyone, to our inaugural Best of 5 series of the Aegis Winter Playoffs. We have Akuma Scimitars on the blue side, and we have Dorado Gaming Zeta on the red. But before we get into any action on the Rift, I'd like to thank our sponsors in Coachify.gg. Coachify provides tools for esports coaches to manage their teams and players while also finding new students. Click the panel located below the stream to check out their website for more information. And before we get any action, they let me do the ad read, Moose. How nice of them. 2 hook champs and no one's dead before the first minute.
You were so worried. You were actually concerned.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
I like good League of Legends. I don't like crazy inters in minute 1.
yes. Not like last week. Last week it was pretty insane. Yeah, I think it was like 4 kills or something like that within a minute. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Crazy Aatrox Q, all that fun stuff. Anyway, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this draft. It is going to be Ghost for Mattel's on the Varus, so maybe a little bit more late game power there for the Akuma Blades bottom lane. But what I'm interested to see here is how effective are these hook champs going to be? Riz Spirit and Joker, are they going to be able to find those early kills either in the mid lane or in the bottom lane to get these carries rolling? And I think that's going to be a big test that's going to maybe decide the outcome here at game 1.
Well, and something interesting to see actually is that we get an understanding of what church Indigo and Joker subscribe to when it comes to whether farming or fasting Senna is the best. As we see, the Joker will be farming out in that bot side. Olaf, although, on...
Oh, no, King Coney may be in trouble. No, Frosty will take a charge shot, but will be able to back away. That is going to be Ghost for both top laners. But anyway, you were saying Church of King Coney.
Church of Fasting Senna.
Got it.
Will be the go-to for Indigo this game. Honestly, I don't think there's definitive data as to which is better between farming and fasting. I think this game, it probably came down to the fact that Respite was playing a melee champion instead of a ranged one that would be able to poke out the Nautilus all game. But we see a play coming out from Nukes here. Look at the top side, potentially a dive going on to the Udyr here. Jax is around, but do they smell this dive coming? Xinjiang will be spotted.
All right, King Coney may be the first play, and it's not actually King Coney, it's Cafe going down. First blood for the King Coney imposter in the top lane.
Yeah, just unfortunate. The play happened a little bit too fast. Really not able to react in time. But on the bright side, Udyr will be able to TP back and collect all of this farm. Didn't miss out on too much.
Okay, we got a hook bottom side, and now Riddy and Cafe maybe looking to go for this kill against Frosty without flash. That should do it, and King Coney will pick up the kill. Meanwhile, in bottom lane, Indigo used both summoner spells to get away from Spirit's hook.
You know what? If anything, at least we're not casting sad boys, right? Because I think all 5 of their members are a version of King Coney.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No, it's Mario Kart 7. It's Mario Kart 7 that's making my life difficult.
I think both of them are it. I know at least Ratchet really is, but anyway. Xinjiang going to be taking a look at mid lane here. Wind actually going to take a whole lot of damage from this jungler.
Oh, might be forced to flash here. One final shot and will be forced to flash, but Nukes will take it. It actually works out so good for Nukes. He'll take that kill, and now maybe gonna get Respirit as well. Gonna get potentially the knockup here. Winds becomes Lightning will connect. Motel's gonna be on the way, but it's gonna be support from Odin. This is gonna be a 3v2 now with Riddy coming in for assistance. No flash for Nukes, and that'll be Motel's picking up that kill. That's gonna be gold going to the bottom lane.
Yeah, good trade back for Akuma here. Very bloody early game coming out from Nukes here. Wants to get stuff rolling early. Flash gonna get burned from the jungler and mid laner of Akuma though, so will be a little bit scary regarding plays in the future. And we see again this top lane matchup is just so hard for the Udyr to actually live. But Frosty missing an axe. It's just unrelenting. This Olaf is unrelenting.
Okay, stun was used. Axe will miss. And that'll be enough for Cafe to be able to get out of that one. But like you were talking about, a very active early game for both of these teams. And it feels like it's been benefiting Dorado just a little bit more. I'd say a lot more if Mattel's didn't get that kill. But Dorado Gaming, definitely the director of this orchestra to start things off.
I think the person that benefits the most actually is Joker, because the whole game has been able to track where Riddy is, has pulled the attention of Respirate, and so has been actually allowed to just farm out pretty well in this game so far. Only down about 3 CS to their counterpart Motelas. Just remember, in this game, you want to look at the support CS for Dorado and then the 80 carry CS like you would normally for Akuma to track how far apart these carries are. Joker going to be picking up a tier early, probably going for the tank item there, as we see an invade coming out from Riddy onto the bot side. We'll be trading the grubs for it, but it will put some pressure on the Dorado bot lane.
I think it's a fairly fine trade as well, especially now because Dorado Gaming will be able to get it. That's going to be the blue buff for Riddy. If Akuma Scimitars are able to contest top side, it would be an opportunity for them to stop Dorado Gaming from getting that hunger of the void buff, and then it's pretty much null and void. But with that being said, it'd be a lot of time to take it.
See what you did there. Riddy going to be recalling and going back towards the top side. A little bit worried, actually, that Udyr might get dove here. It seems the nukes did not go for the angle this time. But I believe Cafe was definitely in dive range. Should the Xin Zhao decide to go for it, we'll go for an invade of their own now. We'll be spotted out on those blue wards. Pink going to go down on the blue of Riddy as nukes will now finally realize that he's been spotted.
Yeah, the jig is up, and now might actually see Riddy in the area with that double buffs. Frosty is here with the ghost, but we've got Wind coming in with the Spirit Rush. The stun is going to land. The charm is next, and Wind will take a nice kill, and Akuma Scimitars get the jump on nukes.
Yeah, a very nice team play coming out from Akuma here. Wind and Riddy doing a nice job to catch out nukes, who just was a little bit too aggressive. Missed the timer on the dive on top side, but still tried to force it nonetheless. Just gets caught out a bit without their flash. And gets sent back to the fountain for their troubles. And Riddy actually now in a really good spot, 0-0-3, up about 4 camps on his counterpart, or 3 camps rather on his counterpart, and has a full jungle available to them. Gonna have to see where he can make use of this pressure. Gonna be going for that Triforce first. As we see, Nukes is gonna pass up on their camps again and opt into this dragon. Which is at a good timer considering the Akuma mid laner did just base, but it might be sniffed out here by Respirate.
Might be able to see it. Riddy is here with that blue buff, but we got Odin going in for a little bit of a reconnaissance mission. We'll find Respirator in the area, but Joker's going to land the dredge line and is going to get a lot of damage in on to Motelas. Motelas will use the flash, will use the change of corruption, but it will not be enough. Nukes will be the one that takes that kill, and Dorado Gaming Zeta are going to even up the kill count.
Yeah, Motelas, I think, has just flashed the hook there. It's unfortunate. I think there was a world where they might have been able to live without having to both flash, but when you step into vision of the Nautilus, it is just wraps for you. Indigo, again, landing a nice W. Onto Varus as well. Did secure the kill for themselves. A little unfortunate. Went over to nukes. I think Indigo would have liked that kill maybe a little bit more because the gold from support item does run out at some point. So we'll be looking for some other forms of gold income when that time comes. But just, I mean, checking in around the map, it is about a 1,000 gold lead in favor of Dorado Gaming here, and I think I would hazard a guess that a lot of that is in the top lane.
Yeah, indeed. Almost 40 CS advantage for Frosty, kind of silently after the bloody start to the game. They got that first dive on to Cafe, and now is up by 1,200. Nicely enough, though, Nukes is staying consistent with Riddy, I think, thanks to those 2 kills in terms of gold. And across the rift, I mean, we're looking at a fairly even spread in the bottom lane as well. So I think early game point goes to Dorado Gaming for being able to navigate it and kind of get Joker, like you said, rolling nicely here into the mid game.
Yeah, I mean, the bot lane's gold is completely even across the 2 lanes. It is just going to be this top side that we're looking at. Coffee going to be going for that Frozen Heart first, or at least we'll be picking up the Glacial Shroud for now. Gets, you know, a little bit of mana, a little bit of cooldown reduction. As we see Riddy going to be looking for a play out to Odin, who is more than dead here.
Oh, more than dead, but a great shockwave might be enough follow-up for Dorado Gaming to get the massive kills. That's 1 kill for Nukes, as that was a great Dawning Shadow from Indigo as well. The Charm's gonna land on to Nuke from Wind, and now Joker wants these kills, but is gonna get stunned and charmed and destroyed. And that play looked good, but not quite good enough, and it will end up being multiple kills for both sides. Riguri will be able to get out, might be able to get away with a teleport, and does! Woo!
That is oh so close to being a disaster for the side of Akuma there. They get the TP out of Joker. They get the kill on Joker. That was a 3 for 2, I believe, overall. Wind with a nice TP to get out there. Denies the the Olaf, rather, a kill in exchange for their efforts. But as a result, actually, is really nice. I think Akuma are more than happy with that. They trade Frosty's TP for wins in the end. So honestly, it's a net neutral TP gain for the side of Akuma. They do just get Jokers off, but they still have the TP onto Udyr should a play arise on the other side of the map. But taking a look around, I mean, that play is absolutely massive for Riddy. Is able to, finish their Triforce, is able to get some more pressure onto the Xin Zhao, who, I mean, it's sort of illegal how close they are in gold and XP. But anyway, Odin has flash still.
And is going to maybe have to use it, going to be able to avoid the charm, and will be able to avoid it. But with that being said, as that was happening, Riddy was able to pick up the 3 Void Grubs, so no return on those early Void Grub investments for Dorado Gaming. And we were talking about Joker being able to kind of magnetize Respirit down there in the bottom lane a little bit earlier on. Now, it seems like Respirit's been unlocked.
Yeah, I think they realized that there's not really much pressure coming out from Indigo and Joker in the lane, and so Martellus can actually just sort of chill and farm. And it could also possibly be that Riddy is just calling Respirate off of plays in the bot side to move around mid. I mean, that looked to be very coordinated between the 3 members there around mid lane, as the ult does go a little bit wide from Mattel's. Indigo no cleanse would have been definitely fatal for the Dorado Gaming AD carry should they have gotten caught there. But taking a look, a lot of pings going onto the bot side here. Both junglers making their way. Nukes, has he smelled out the play that Riddy has been going for?
And they want it now. They're going to get a lot of damage in on to Respirit. Not going to be able to get much done before they go down, but it's still going to be a fight as Nuke's going to try to come in. They're going to go for a potential big play. Nuke's going to drop the Crescent Guard already. The Shockwave commence. Nice dredge line once again from Joker. Going to land some damage on Wind, but will be able to Spirit Rush away. Overall, just 1 kill for Dorado Gaming.
Yeah, but crucially, the Dragon is going to be spawning in 8 seconds, which means that Dorado will have the push for this Dragon when it does spawn, as we just keep seeing the Awakened R popped from this Udyr on repeat in the top side. Really well played from Nukes there to be able to spot out that play. Their bot lane was playing very aggressively, and Respirate went for a bit of a risky engage there. Was sort of the engage that only works if you are at an advantage there, because if you're not, then you just get blown up like we saw on screen. But second Dragon looking to be going the way of Dorado here, unless Riddy comes up with a crazy steal. Not to be the case though, as Indigo does get a few nice souls. No flash onto Orianna as Respirate. You are spotted here by the Dorado Gaming jungler.
Oh, okay.
Respirate just gotta walk himself right out of there.
Damage taken. Padding those stats.
Ward achieved on the Raptors, or on the Wolves rather, as this is some support gameplay here. The directed camera really wants to follow Respirate around.
You know what? With a vision score like that, you've got to see what he's doing. 17 vision score at 13 minutes. This man is an absolute unit. And maybe looking to go for a play here. Actually gets kind of blocked by the Raptors, but nonetheless, Akuma Scimitars maybe looking to continue going. Nicely done by Odin, and to be able to get all of those Raptors away from Riddy. There's little wins for the Orianna.
Yeah, small wins. The gold goes on to Orianna. The jungle CS increases for Riddy, even though it didn't actually increase. Just the net exchange. Although still dead even on gold amongst these junglers here, despite a 20 CS lead for Riddy. But this could be a potential fight here, as we see the Zeta and Nautilus up on this top side.
Yeah, Charm's gonna land, but the dredge line does connect. Half damage for Spirit, who did not heal from that turret damage. Going to be forced to back away, and King Cody is left all alone. That's Cafe actually going down. And now Spirit gonna be very low, extremely low. Will go down to nukes. And it's 2 kills for Dorado Gaming. And now they can go to the Rift Herald.
Yeah, this is what I meant in draft when I said that there's not really anyone on this Dorado Gaming side afraid of getting hooked. There was no fear when that Blitzcrank was on their screen. They were having a laugh. I mean, Akuma kind of got pushed into a really awkward choke for them to fight in. Motel's was not quite there either. So I mean, just a really awkward fight for Akuma there. Yes, the Udyr did die in that fight. It was a little bit unfortunate that just came at the wrong angle at the wrong time for the fight to actually live through the fight there. Herald does go down for the side of Dorado Gaming, so it will be 3 grubs to 3. It is a definite advantage for the time being. Hold on, Frosty does not have the ult available. Oh, but really greeted the Gromp instead. A little bit unfortunate. Would have been nice to go for that shutdown there. But I mean, the game is certainly sitting in the palms of Dorado Gaming. They have the scaling advantage, I'd argue, with this Senna and Orianna combo. We're pretty much at the point where this Udyr cannot exist in the lane with Olaf. So it will be a little bit interesting to see how those side lanes play out for the time being. But I think where Akuma have to play, and it looks as though Respert has the scouting report, is they have to play around this Ahri. They have to play around Wind, because that is the only champion in this game currently with any advantage on the side of Akuma. And wow, are they committing to this play?
They sure are. They're going to get that bottom tier 1 tower. Meanwhile, Frosty going to be able to get some pressure in onto that top tier 2, doing Olaf things. Tower does finally go down. 1:41 remaining until the dragon spawned, as Dorado Gaming Zeta can hold on to the Rift Herald for the time being and then drop it in a lane to maybe get some pressure there. Rift Herald on nukes, 4, 3, and 4. Has the Sundered Sky, and now Dorado Gaming has the task of making sure that they can find a way to get that gold advantage on nukes on to their carries. 0, 0, and 5 for Indigo, 0, 1, and 3 for Odin on this Orianna. So what I'm really looking to see here for this next big team fight is how are these carries going to be able to get those kills to start really amplifying this lead.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally, that lead will probably just turn into invades onto Ready, but it hasn't really been able to find too much success in that field so far this game. Has definitely been doing a nice job playing with Frosty, but their bot lane has not had the same sort of pressure as this Olaf, as you see a fairly favorable trade for the Ahri, but that was the entire combo from the Akuma mid laner, and it did maybe, what, 15% of Olaf's health?
Yeah, gonna be just fine. Gonna be just A-okay.
Yeah.
And so, and that's, I think, the concern here is, who's going to be able to pressure Frosty in the side lanes. And if it has to be Wind, that means that Wind is not here for these team fights, as we are going to be having the play start here for Dorado Gaming. 14 seconds remaining until the Cladric spawns, as Odin is going to be the one that pilots the Rift Herald, decides against it. And so maybe we'll be able to get this head, but we'll have to see if it does end up happening, as the Dragon is now going to be started here by the side of maybe Dorado Gaming. Cafe maybe going to be in trouble here, as Frosty did teleport to the bottom side of the rift. Ragnarok is available, and that's going to be another X landing here onto Cafe. Indigo now coming in for a little bit of damage, going to get stunned. King Cody trying to run away, and on the other side of the rift, it could potentially be a 4v3 in favor of Akuma. The root is going to land from the Chains of Corruption, but there's not going to be no follow-up there. Dawning Shadows will commence, going to land the depth charge, the knock-up on to Win. As the tower goes down, it's still a 4v3, but the cavalry has arrived. And there's the cavalry in the name of Frosty. It's going to be the Ragnarok popped. Going to get some damage in on Motels. Nukes will take out Spirit, and it's going to be a 3-for-1 in favor of Dorado Gaming.
Yeah, it was a great escape from the beginning from Cafe, but just, I mean, the fight has to be a lot snappier from the rest of Akuma there. They have to pick a target, and they have to full commit to it. They split their damage across the 3 members that were sitting under that tower, and as a result, it was enough time for both, I believe it was both Frosty and Indigo to get back to the fight. A great ulti coming out from the Dorado Gaming AD carry to slow down the effects of that 4v3 in the mid lane. But as a result, I mean, it's a tower for Akuma, but a fight win for Dorado, as well as a soul point dragon that will take them to a fairly pretty early soul in this game. About a 24:30 will be the timer on that one. So we're gonna have to see what champions can get their items finished. It will be Motels probably who will be trying to go for. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to be going for here. I think, is that a Rage Blade? Is that what that looks like on the Varus? Yeah. I'm trying to think of the Wits End items, but I don't think. Anyway, gonna have to see what items we can get is the big thing. Jax will be going for that Sundered Sky. Nukes will be going for the Titanic Hydra. But I mean, the most fun person in the game is still going to be this Olaf. Yeah, by about 700 gold over Wind. And we haven't really seen too much from this Ahri in the way of, team fight management. Got Nautilus ulted in that last fight, so not really able to do too much with their lead. And has otherwise been forced to manage Frosty, which is not really leading them to success here in this game. We're gonna have to see where Akuma can find an angle. I'm pretty sure it just has to be a Blitz Hook at this point.
Yeah, and now we're kind of maybe seeing the struggles here of this draft from Akuma. You were talking about, who is worried about getting hooked, and really this front line from Dorado Gaming does not care, and there's going to be very few instances where they can get potentially to that backline. Nautilus, I think, just having the better hook game and having the better, I would say, just presence here in these team fights with the power of the depth charge. And shout out to Joker, 144 CS, only 20 behind Mattel's here at the 21-minute mark, is definitely keeping up, and that's just more frontline that Akuma has to deal with.
Yeah, although one thing I will have to say is Dorado Gaming only have one sweeper. Which in a game that you're ahead is not really what you want to be doing. You want to really be denying as much vision as possible, and it is certainly not the type of game where you want to have two pinks in the same bush, but that's for another time. The way you push leads is really simple. You deny vision, you create the spaces. Hold on, Odin gonna be under fire here.
Under fire, that's going to be the shockwave used, maybe try to stop it, but it will not matter. Riddy taking the kill. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, gonna be Mattel's going down. That had to have been a flash play from Joker, and so it's gonna be a 1-for-1 across the rift, as these carries are not where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, and on the bot side, Cafe doing a good job clearing the wave, as ulti gonna come out now into Wind.
Oh, and the knockout's gonna land. The dredge line is next. The teleport will commence here from from Cafe, but it's not gonna matter. Indigo gonna try to get out, just gonna get stunned, and it might be in trouble. Gonna walk away from that, but it will be Cafe being able to pick that up. Meanwhile, on the top side of the rift, Frosty's gonna take out the Jax. It doesn't matter. It's gonna be a rampage for this Olaf, as the dredge line's gonna connect here onto Cafe. Cafe now in a bad situation, gonna be forced to ram out. Respirit now maybe the next on the menu, as they are going to be able to avoid the Wind becomes lightning, but they're not gonna be able to avoid the dredge line from Nukes, or from Joker, and Nukes gonna be on a rampage. Mattel's cannot contest, and so overall 4-4-2 in favor of Dorado Gaming.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're Akuma, you're kind of happy with that. At this point, you're trading gold. And in a game state where we're behind, hold on, Motels, I think you've been caught by your own ulti here.
Oh no, another great dredge line landed from Joker, and that's going to be Motels down for 30 seconds right after respawn.
And at this point in the game, I think it's going to be hard for Akuma to come back into this, but this is the benefit of best of series, right? You get a game to warm up. This is certainly one of those. Again, Akuma not with their starting top laner, playing with someone who is, I believe, playing their third main role currently against Frosty, who's doing a respectable job as well, by the way. I mean, so it is going to be a little bit rough. They should be fine, though, moving into game number 2. Dragon's Soul going to be spawning in 40 seconds. If you're Akuma, I'm not really sure if you're even able to contest this, especially if Frosty decides to come and join the fight. But Respirit going to try and get some wards down. Wolf spot Nukes doing the blue. Yoink.
Oh. Well, hey, it's blue buff, and they're gonna like that, as the dragon's gonna be spawning here in 20 seconds. Gonna be mid-priority compare right now for Akuma, but Dorado Gaming going to be putting in the champions to be able to clear that out. King Coney, I don't think was seen, and does end up eventually getting seen by the ward and by all of the vision that Dorado Gaming has invested into. But now the fight is going to commence. They're going to be able to find the depth charge in on to Wind once again, and Respirit's going to go down. Great shockwave from Odin, and that might just do it here for game number 1. Double kill for Nukes, but a shockwave from Odin is going to be so massive. 4 for nothing in favor of Dorado Gaming.
Yeah, what a wombo combo from Nukes and Odin. The sweep of Crescent Strike into the yoink back in from the Shockwave. It was a definite ping pong effect from the mid jungle of Dorado, looking really good. As they, crush this fight, they're gonna get Soul and Baron here and move their way to what will probably be closer to a 10k gold lead when this play is all said and done. Yeah, it's so hard to find an angle. Respirate tried to get up into that game, or into the faces of Dorado, and just could not find anyone in particular to pull. Only had fat body tanks in their way. And it was looking a little scary because I'm not sure if Dorado was going to face check that bush, but Respirate just really tried to make the play happen. Unfortunately, not going to find their angle into the fight, and this game is going from a little bit bad to a whole lot worse. Baron buff now on the side of Dorado Gaming. It looks like they're going to be trying to focus down this mid and bot side, but crucially at this point, they need to make sure that they're not making solo plays. Don't make plays where you don't have vision. Just be consistent, and you will win out. Again, Frosty and Odin much stronger than the solo laners of Akuma in this current game state. Again, Wind was 4-1, now down to 4-3. Not really able to do too much now with those items. Is sitting on 3, but I don't know how much that matters currently.
Yeah, and with Baron, with that Cloud Soul, something that Frosty and Nukes especially love to pick up. The avenues for Akuma to be able to come back into this one are fairly slim, and now it's just about Dorado Gaming staying active, staying vigilant, and making sure that they make the right plays necessary to finish the job. Going to be a teleport play coming in from Akuma here, but it's actually just going to be a bamboozle by Dorado Gaming as they find Spirit once again. 0-7-4 on this Blitzcrank. Not the start that you want here in this round of 16 match. Yeah, and in the bot lane, their tower went down on Cafe's watch, unfortunately, and just not able to clear the Baron minions as easily with that awakened R. As you see, Riddy actually now going to try and go for this potentially. This is the play that Akuma could be looking for. Crescent Guard's going to land as Ragnarok is going to come in. That's one fast Olaf, as not deciding what type of play they wanted to go for. Wind is going to be teleporting to stop the inhibitor tower from going down. The dredge line does not connect, but with all of that being done, it is going to end up being that inner tower in the mid lane going down. Wind will be able to use Flash to get out of the roots that Indigo was able to pop. And finally, after all of that, Indigo does end up getting a kill onto Spirit, not killless in this game. Cafe maybe in trouble. Frosty gonna land another axe. Slow Coney feeling the effects of a late game Udyr, gonna be forced into a single man shockwave, but will just be tanky enough to back away. Yeah, that's as Coffee would say, that's a bit of a fan moment right there. They really wanted to kill that Udyr. Unfortunately, not going to be able to find the takedown after using, honestly, a whole lot of abilities there, especially the Orianna Shockwave. But I mean, yeah, they're going to reset. They have a 10k gold lead in their favor. Dorado Gaming now going to try and close this one out. If not now, then in 3 minutes time with this next Baron. Granted, Akuma have to be honored for their defense here a little bit. Only losing 2 towers in that Baron take for Dorado. Respirate getting caught did not help that a little bit, but oh, hold on. This Jax is in a little bit of a scary spot here. Nonetheless, okay, never mind. We're all good. But yeah, Dorado Gaming still trying to find a way to crack the base of Akuma here. Did not do it with the first Baron. We'll probably be able to do it with the second. But critically, at the same timer as this next Baron will be the spawn of the Elder Dragon, which we said before the only win condition was for Akuma to land a Blitz Hook. I think there might be another one in 2.5 minutes time when this Elder Dragon spawns. Alrighty, and we'll see if they can do it. I mean, yeah, it's very, very much Dorado's game to lose here. I think that there's really no doubt about it. I do, like you said, I do commend Akuma for being able to keep the defense up for as long as they have, and if they are able to find the right angle, all it takes is Spirit finding that one right blitz hook onto Odin, that one right blitz hook onto Indigo, and a team fight and a game win could potentially be right around the corner. But it's so difficult for them to be able to do that, and so far I've not really seen that impact from this Blitzcrank yet. You know, they've got the Solstice Slay, they've got the Trailblazer, they got the tools to try to make it happen. It just hasn't been the execution. But we'll have to see if maybe they are able to fix this up with the, you know, the waning minutes of this game, most surely about to commence.
This is the right play from Dorado Gaming here. They're just not doing anything crazy. They're holding on to their lead. They're setting up vision for when these objectives spawns. I mean, we said it before, right?
All right, maybe the fight here, but that's going to be the hook missing, and that's going to be the engage potentially starting for Dorado Gaming. Cafe going to be the one hit by the root, but will be backing off. 56 seconds remaining until Baron spawns, 57 seconds until Elder Drake.
That was really scary from Nukes there. If that hook lands from Respite, there's a good chance that Nukes is either dead or out of the play, and gives Akuma rather a chance to take vision in their jungle. I mean, I said it before, and you cannot be making solo plays at this point in the game. Yes, you caught an Udyr, but that Udyr is, you know, down 2,000 gold. Sorry, 2,000 was a massive understatement. Try 6,000 to their lane opponent. Yeah, 9.5 to 15 and a bit. So, but here, I mean, Akuma are making their play. They have made their stand. They want to defend this Baron side, which I think Dorado, I mean, they should be fine taking the Elder Dragon, but honestly, you should not be letting Akuma have anything. If they're out of their base, they are killable. And here we go.
All right, Baron is now going to get started here by Akuma, but the fight is going to commence. This is where Akuma makes their stand. Nice Ragnarok, and Frosty is unstoppable. Mattel's goes down. Wind is forced to be backed away, but is not going to be let out of this one. Frosty gets a double kill. Nukes takes out Wind, is godlike. The teleports come through from Dorado Gaming, and that will do it. Game number 1 is going to go over to the red side, and it was definitely one-sided.
Yeah, I mean, after the early game, it sort of just started to fall apart for Akuma there. They just couldn't get anything going. It was really hard for them to fight to begin with. They didn't really have an angle. They didn't really have a target they could easily pick with that Blitzcrank. Odin going to try and land a little bit more damage onto the Udyr. But game 1, going the way of Dorado Gaming, that's a very strong way to start a best-of-5 series.
Indeed. And I mean, shout out to the whole, I mean, shout out, of course, to the whole of Dorado Gaming, but I mean, credit has to go to Frosty here. On this Olaf really made it difficult for Cafe to do much of anything throughout the series. And then when Wind was forced to go up there to try to stop the bleeding, it just ended up hemorrhaging. And Frosty was able to be just even stronger. 16,000 gold on an Olaf, the richest person on the Rift, the actual carry of this game. It wasn't Indigo. It wasn't Odin. It was indeed Frosty, 7, 1, and 5. And so, you know, like you were talking about, maybe going to be a couple of changes in terms of the roster here for Akuma, might change the results here of game 2 and game 3, but overall this is looking like a very good start to the series for Dorado Gaming. We'll see if they can continue to keep that going moving into game 2. Septi, any final thoughts in terms of the builds, or any final thoughts in terms of how the game went before we take it to a break?
No, I think there were some good things for both teams here. I mean, obviously Dorado got the win, but I think Akuma definitely has some things to keep their head up about. They played, I think, the early mid game fairly decently well. They were able to trade some objectives. Motels did have some, or not Motels, rather, Respite had some good roams with Britty. And so if they can keep that up and, you know, maybe find a way to consistently play the game, more consistently play the game, that wasn't meant to be flame, but if they're able to find a way to consistently, you know, get to the mid and find a way to start their own fights, it will definitely be the trick for them going into game number 2. But I don't think there was anything, you know, too terrible about their game. I think Akuma, you know, played the game out to the best of their ability. I think the Blitzcrank just is very hard in this game to actually make a lasting impact. Credit has to go to Frosty. Had a winning matchup, took that R5 all the way to the max, made Cafe's life a living nightmare for the first, you know, 15 minutes, basically until the Udyr was able to finish their Frozen Heart. It was a little bit rough for them, and even afterwards, it was even more rough. But with that said, we are going to take a short little break before we get into game number 2 of Akuma Scimitars versus Dorado Gaming Zeta. Stick around, we'll be right back. Guess we're getting griefed.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Aegis Marauders League. We are indeed getting griefed here on stream, but that's okay.
Why did I have Wookie muted? I'm so sorry, stream. Why did I have Wookie? I didn't do that. Why was Wookie? Anyway,
we're in draft.
Okay, I know what happens. We're in draft. I know what happens.
We're in draft. We got Severe back in the top side of the rift here for Akuma, and we're gonna see how the draft maybe changes here between game 1 and game 2. The griefing that we were talking about though was the Blitzcrank ban. I don't think that that's necessarily needed, and thank God it wasn't. But anyway, we're gonna get into the bans now. Smolder once again, probably gonna be seeing the Nico, and yeah, bans are gonna be the same.
Yeah, bans are gonna be the same. Senna gonna be the takeaway this time. I guess they just don't want to play against the scaling this time. I think Varus was a fine pick there. Should they decide, if they decided to go for it again, Dorado will take the Varus in exchange potentially here. The only thing that Senna offers you that's a little bit different, I guess, is your support choice. I mean, you can go for the same strategy that Dorado did before and go for the farming Nautilus. You can, maybe pick something with a little bit more range, like a Seraphine. It also is a takeaway that appears to be comfortable for Dorado, which might be what Akuma is going for this game. Something to note as well is that Severe is back for Akuma. They'll be back in the top lane this game. Dorado gonna potentially lock the Nautilus again here. I don't think Braum is as good this game. I think Tom Kench, if you want to go for it, is very good. I think Seraphine is very good. Just whatever you do, have the Olaf banned. I think if they lock Maokai, it's pretty fine. It is a flex between support and jungle. Riddy has picked it up a few times here. So curious to see how Akuma goes with their third pick if this Maokai is the lock. I would like to see the Maokai flexed, so maybe you do pick mid again, whether it's Ahri, is up to the Akuma team tier to pick, but I mean, Maokai gonna be the lock for pick number 2.
Yep, and we were talking about, Joker played, I think, as well as you want a Nautilus to play here for Dorado in game 1 up against the Blitzcrank Varus. And I once again, the adaptability of Varus as a champion, now once again going to have a hook champion, going to be able to get that little bit of support. The Maokai is going to get hovered, and the Hui potentially for Wind. I like it because you are able to get that artillery, and you scale maybe a little bit better into the mid to late game, but once again for Akuma, the backline is very immobile. Very few ways to escape if you don't have flash.
Yeah, into a very pick-heavy composition, and these picks just keep getting more and more pick-centric into champions that are, very, as you said, immobile, but also very fragile. Hui probably will be going for the Ceres build this game, which will give them a little bit more beefiness. But Senna, never really going to have too much health in the game, so should a Nautilus press R on their head, it will be a little bit difficult to play, which makes me think that Akuma might be going for a TK pick here. I mean, they have so much single target focus when it comes to the Nautilus, the Varus. The Ahri does a little bit more damage, but also, the Charm into Q does a whole bunch on a single target. So curious to see if Dorado sniff that out, or if even Akuma want to go for it. But what I do want to see for sure is I want to see an Olaf ban. Yeah, there it is. Frosty just did such a nice job on it last game, and into Maokai, Olaf is kind of Exodia, because Maokai can throw ult at you all day, and it won't matter to Ragnarok. You'll just go right through it. You'll take a little bit of damage from the Bramble Thorns, but you'll just keep on going. Gragas ban is interesting from Dorado. I'm not sure if it's Riddy or Severe that's been playing it a lot. I know some people have been picking it up in the top lane recently.
Yeah.
Just go Grasp into Rod of Ages, and it's a fairly stable top laner. But Dorado Gaming, thinking that this Maokai is going to be going into the bot lane here. So Bubba's going to get taken off the table for Riddy. Let's see what Akuma decide to ban here. I'm curious Dorado, they probably will just pick their jungle here. It probably will be either the Vi or the Xin Zhao again. Nukes looked really good on it in the last game. I think, yeah, honestly, either is fine. Xin Zhao is really good into Maokai. You can just step up, you can eat the ultimate, and then you can press R yourself. And just like last time, you will just be immune to damage. But again, preference is always very important to these players. Vi going to be the hover for the time being. But yeah.
I mean, I like it. I think your reasoning for the Xin Zhao is sound, but I like the Vi because you have two options available to potentially go into that backline. And then you have the follow-up from the Ahri and from the Nautilus in order to make it impactful. I mean, do we see potentially something like a Nocturne here for Akuma? Maybe to turn out the lights, maybe to make that play for Dorado a little bit more disruptive. Xin Zhao is hovered to potentially avoid the Chains of Corruption and then the Charm, and that is going to be the case. You do get a little bit of protection for the Senna and the Hui, but it's not necessarily the most protection. And now for Akuma, they've got to be able to build something more frontline to be able to keep, I would think, something a little bit more frontline here on the top side of the Rift. I don't think that the Maokai is going to go topside. I think it's got to be a support here in this case. Regardless, though, Dorado Gaming once again are going to have the R5 pick for Frosty to decide what they want to play.
These picks are too defensive. I would have loved to have seen the Maokai go into the jungle here. I think once they lock Vi, it is so turbo to pick the Tahm Kench here. They literally they have two ultimates that project who they're targeting, right? You know, the Vi ulti, you get a little mark on your player. The Nautilus ulti, you get a mark under your feet. And so once they use their single target focus, like there's no, there's no killing anyone. You use your ultis, they've gone on cooldown, and Tahm Kench has, both saved and given the shield to the person that you were trying to save. Now this is an interesting pick though for the top lane. Pantheon into Poppy is not a great matchup for the Pantheon, although the champion is really strong with the Sundered Sky item, as I believe there is an interaction when Pantheon has full stacks of their passive and they W someone, all three of their W autos will get the Sundered Sky proc. So curious to see what goes on in the top side there for Frosty. But I'm really worried about Akuma. They are so low damage in the early game. The Xin Zhao is not going to have any help from the laners in terms of damage for at least 15 minutes. The Hui is not even going to do damage early on. We'll be going for that Saris first. And so who do you play with? The Maokai? Mm-hmm. Is the Maokai going to be roaming and leaving the Senna to not farm under their tower, or farm, depending on what Motelis wants to be doing? But I'm not a fan of this blue side comp.
I think it is very similar to what Akuma's problem was in game one, where it could have potentially done well had they had the opportunity to be able to get the ball rolling, had they had those early kills and had that early scaling to be impactful. But I mean, credit to Nukes for being so good on that Xin Zhao and making a lot of those plays end up being Dorado Gaming positive. Even the plays that Akuma initiated, it was because of Nukes. It was because of Joker being able to play in tandem together, be able to keep the back line so protected that Dorado Gaming was able to mitigate the damage or at least come out even here. And there are options for Dorado Gaming to play to win, to get to the backline, to get to the Senna, to get to the Hui, and make their games really miserable. And like you were talking about, it's a very frail damage line for Akuma. If either Senna or Hui get fallen behind or they go down, if one of them goes down in a team fight, it's gonna be very difficult for Akuma to win. If one of those players goes down in the laning phase and only one of them is strong, Dorado Gaming can just adapt and say, hey, we're just gonna build that resistance, and now you have no way of winning the team fight. So I agree with you on a lot of those points, but execution is always going to be the name of the game here, and Akuma have shown that they can do that. But very pivotal game two. I would argue to say a must-win game for Akuma. If they don't win it, I don't see an angle for them to be able to take this back in a 3-2 sweep.
Well, that's why these teams are fun to watch. I mean, I think there's a world where Akuma could reverse sweep. It would be very hard. It would be a very long-fought battle. But I mean, Dorado Gaming looked very clean, once they had their lead in game number one, and they have a composition that is set up for success. Sure. I mean, Vi Ahri is such a nice pairing in the mid jungle for this red side here. This way, post level 6 will just either not have flash or be dead on repeat. So I anticipate nukes will go, towards mid pretty early, maybe trade flashes with Tway, with just a Q flash to try and find a bit of pressure onto the lane. And then either Nautilus will come back. It'll be a dog pile into this mid lane. Pantheon ult will come down. Basically, Wind has to play this perfectly and have vision of every person on the map in order to actually make this happen. There could even be a roam from Indigo on this Varus. You just throw Chains of Corruption at the Hui and it is game over. And we'll have to see. Akuma, they have cooked something here. Whether it's good or not is yet to be seen.
Let them cook.
Let them cook.
Let them cook,
as the meme is.
As the youngins would say.
Yeah, as the youngins would say, let them cook. But as we get into our spectator delay and as we talk about draft, I do want to thank our sponsors in ProComps. It's not like any other tool. It is your personal draft coach. Perfect for both teams and solo queue players. In fact, you can pair with any other app you use. ProComps stands out with features like custom champion pools, personalized tier lists, and live draft advice. Think of it having your own personal virtual coach and strategy toolkit all in one. They offer real-time champ and ban recommendations. They have already over 200,000 users and thousands of daily users just like you. ProComps is user-friendly and totally free, by the way. It's a no-brainer to at least give it a go. Download ProComps now and you'll experience a whole new level of drafting power in your league games. Go to procomps.gg, download it from Overwolf, or click the panel below our stream for more information. And with that said, Moose, I think we have a bit of a dragon game to continue.
Yes, we do. It was a Cloud Soul for game 1, which means that you start the draft for game 2.
All right, perfect. I'm going to go with Hex again. I just like the dragon.
You got the faith?
Yeah, I got the faith. And honestly, it's kind of turbo this game for both teams.
I love it. I mean, hey, let's see competitive games. I am going to play the Uno reverse card. I'm going to take Mountain Ocean.
Ooh, all right. Mountain Ocean. I'm going to go with Cloud and Infernal.
Alrighty, sounds like a plan. It's gonna leave me with the Chemtech Soul once again, everyone's favorite uncle of the dragon family.
The Funkle. There you go.
The Funkle. There you go. Yes, the smelly Funkle.
Yeah, emphasis on the funk.
Alrighty, folks. We're gonna take a quick break to get into the spectator delay, complete that, and get into the game. We'll be right back, folks.
Welcome back, everyone, to game number 2 of Akuma Scimitars versus Dorado Gaming Zeta. We have stuck to the same sides in this game number 2. Currently, Dorado leads 1-0. The drafts have changed up a little bit. Senna moving to the blue side, but Nautilus still remains in the hands of Joker. This time, in a bit of a supportive role, more so than the last game, is going to be having that World Atlas in inventory. But critical this game, I think, is going to have to be focusing on Riddy, right? We talked about it a bit in Draft Moose, that this blue side does not really have a whole bunch going for it in the early game. It is going to be relying heavily on their jungler to make things happen. Nuke's going to be on their pretty comfortable Vi, as we see some interesting runes for Frosty. Will be the Conqueror, but has Ghost on the Pantheon up there. No Olaf this game, so no crazy rundowns of Udyrs. We're ready. We'll get a nice little ward onto the Raptors as we settle in to our early game.
Alrighty, and now let's go ahead and get started with it. And I think you said it best, and I think we're kind of highlighting what I would argue to say needs to be a highlight, arguably one of their best starts for Riddy here for Akuma on the Xin Zhao. We need to see them finding those early kills, getting those kills onto Aguri, onto Motels. He was able to do that in game 1. He was able to find some of those plays and was able to get those kills going, but just wasn't able to finish the job, and Akuma just did not have the mid game that they needed. So we'll have to see if they are able to find that play, and that play needs to happen now here in game 2, as the trades are going to continue to go back and forth here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and we see Nukes going for a 3 camp into the spot side. It's not a traditional path that we've seen in a long time, but it will be the prototypical red-blue Gromp into bot side, the favorite of 3 camp junglers, as we see Respirate going to get a ward actually into try. It's going to be really nice to spot out this potential gank from Nukes. But same as last game, Riddy is going to be on the same side of the map that Nukes is trying to play for. Critical thing that they didn't do last time, but will Akuma be able to spot out the gank from Nukes? We'll be trying to wrap around here into the river, trying to look for a flank around the back potentially. It's the Dorado game jungle, and this play is on. Nukes is going to try and maybe squeeze into this pocket of vision, but Motels, you have stepped too far, my friend.
Step too far indeed, and the play is going to be in trouble. Indigo going to be forced to flash though, and now it's an all-in opportunity here for Motels. Can they get it? No, it's going to be first blood for Nukes, and Joker will take the second. It was messy, but still effective for Dorado Gaming.
Yeah, and critically, Nukes held their flash to that play. They go 2 for 0 there. Motel is just not able to get that last auto onto Indigo. Was very close when the Dorado Gaming AD carry stepped back into the play. But in the end, 2 for 0, splitting the kills between the jungler and the support will be really nice for themselves. But in the long run, it's going to be 1,000 gold lead already for the side of Dorado Gaming so early on into the game. And that is massive for the way that this game is going to play out. We talked about it before. Motels and Respirate have to have a good game in this bot side. They cannot be falling behind. They have to be there to support Wind and Riddy here as this game goes on. Odin kind of gets found by Riddy here.
Oh, to be able to avoid the wind becomes lightning, but it will be Wind that secures it against Odin, and arguably a shining point for Akuma. Played well against the Orianna game 1, and once again is looking to do well here in game 2.
Wind becomes lightning, more like wind becomes fed. I'm sorry. Anyway, really nicely done by Riddy there. We could have let it drop. We could have let it drop. It's fine.
Anyway,
Really nicely done by Riddy there. Gets the kill onto the mid, gets the flash off of Odin. So kind of the reverse of what we thought was going to happen early on. Nuke's still going to have the opportunity to make a play onto Wind. Has the flash available as my AML admin is getting mad at me in the chat. I apologize, Flay. It was a joke of all time, as it were. But no, looking at the way this is going, it's pretty good so far across the map for the side of Dorado Gaming. Again, still sitting with about 1,000 gold in their pockets, as Motels does not have the flash available to them. Resprit gonna potentially try and eat this hook here.
Oh, nice damage in onto Motels, but is it enough to finish the job? Yes, it is. Joker, once again, apparently the carry here in this series, 2-0-1 on the Nautilus.
Yeah, Joker, you're not farming this game. You don't need all the gold, man. It's fine. But also, more importantly, Motel is sort of stuck around a little bit too long in that fight. Was able to walk away. Did get chunked by nukes though, but had the Eon, could have actually walked out, but was trying to auto back down Indigo in a situation where I don't really know if that was possible. Frosty gonna get found out now by Riddy. Does have when it comes lightning. No flash on this Pantheon.
All right, stun will be enough to be able to stop it, and that's, I mean, the power of the Pantheon, though, is you do have to be worried about the steadfast presence from Severe, but if you are able to avoid that, you can do well in this play, and now is looking to go potentially for a trade. Both level 6s now online for both Frosty and Severe. And, you know, how impactful is this ultimate from Frosty going to be in the early game, and how would you like it to be used effectively here?
It's going to be interesting to see if Frosty is actually able to get priority in the lane. Seems to be, you know, having the full push currently in their favor, but Severe for the most part will probably be on Frosty the entire laning phase. It'll be in moments like these when the Pantheon is resetting that they'll be able to make a play with their ulti. Yeah, gonna be using the TP back to lane instead of ult means that Frosty either really wants to do something with his ulti here, or is just misusing spells, but I'd imagine it's the former. Because this ultimate on Pantheon is so impactful on the map. You can clear your wave, you can base. It honestly is just a second TP, basically. Because most champions that have ultis like this, think of Briar, you think of Nautilus, or you think of Nocturne, they have to click, you know, on something to go there, or they have to land an ability to go there. Pantheon, on the other hand, sort of like TF, can just click a spot and be there. With damage, you know, with some bonuses, he gets a reset onto his passive. So Frosty now going to take the time, will be fully in control of this top lane here. And I'm really surprised that Nukes has not gone to this mid lane yet. You would expect that they would try to at least get the flash off of Wind on this way, as it, you know, would most certainly set up a death come level 6 time. But now Odin going to be level 7, has a Spirit Rush available to them, as Nuke's going to be resetting, trying to play towards this bot side here that is potentially under the threat of getting dove here if the wave stacks incorrectly. But other than that, I mean, nothing too crazy going on. It is going to be the farming center of this game. I know we talked about the Church of Fasting center last game. It seems as though Motels wants to be the farmer in this lane. So that's going to be a little bit of a detriment to his soul count, but I think is better in the long run. It definitely makes the life easier for Resprit, who can just be focused. Oh, hold on, Severe.
Frosty, 1 HP. Oh, okay, the shield bash will be enough. The buckler bash, I should say, will be enough for Severe to win out in that fight, and that's big for Akuma.
What if I told you a buckler was just a shield but smaller? What if I told you that?
I would assume so, but we're gonna get a fight here as the Spirit is gonna be caught out. Oh no, the Spirit gonna be down. Not even level 6 will fall, and that's gonna be a neutral play across the rift that Dorado Gaming is just happy to take.
Yeah, and that kill finally goes the way of Indigo. So the kill finally going onto the Dorado Gaming AD carry. But all 4 kills and assists have been assisted by the bot laners and jungler, rather, of Dorado Gaming. Hold on, Odin going to go in with the Spirit Rush.
Yeah, going to try to maybe finish the job here. Riddy finds them. When it becomes lightning, will connect. Audacious charge used, forcing the flash out of Riddy and forcing the flash out of Odin. Also getting a flash out of Wind, as Odin is barely gonna survive, but still got to be careful. We'll be able to walk away.
Yeah, the QW is so close to killing there from Wind, as this is does he clear the ward? Does that? Oh my goodness, it doesn't see the ward. I love Riot Games. That pink ward is really unfortunate. It's positioned so far to the side of the bush that it doesn't spot the ward on the other side, and so it is a useless ward, as it were, in terms of clearing other vision. But I mean, more importantly, and this is something that you can maybe abuse if you know a ward is placed there. There's a pocket of vision on the far side of the bush if mid laners, put it too close to the wall. So if you're a jungler wanting a little bit of a vision tech, that is something that you can use. But for the time being, not going to be of any use as both sides are spotted by these teams. The only thing, though, is that blue ward can be cleared as Respirate finally goes back there with a sweeper. But I mean, looking at the game state currently, it is about, still a 1,000 gold lead for the side of Dorado Gaming. Grubs are in favor of Akuma, but they do have a Hex Tech Soul on the side of Dorado. Again, no plays have happened with this Ahri or Vi in the mid lane. Spirit Rush not available for the Dorado Gaming mid laner, but with no flash on Wind on this way, I anticipate the Vi will be around, not in this capacity to clear a ward, but in the sense of trying to go for a play here. And it looks like we're going to be trading Dragon for Grubs again. As this is a really awkward game state, because Riddy does not want to be trading top pressure for his bot lane. But Senna going to get the wave in and going to take the back, which more or less is a zero loss game for Akuma here. So really nicely well played by this blue side. Definitely trying to find a way to make this composition work. But yeah, we'll pick up 6 Grubs to 2 Dragons, and it'll be a good time.
Going to be a Mountain Soul, another point for Moose, but now going to be the play on to Wind. Joker is here, going to land the depth charge and will take the kill, as we are getting a lot of damage onto Nukes and before it's flash away, as that's going to be a nice charm coming in onto Severe. Huge charm from Odin, and that's going to be the Grand Starfall. Riddy is going to be caught out, and Joker will take another kill.
Yeah, this Nautilus is going to be unkillable this game. But it is so unfortunate. I mean, really nice well done from the side of Dorado Gaming. They were able to find a play onto Wind, who was flashless after their engagement with Odin earlier on. The hook lands, the dredge line, or the depth charge lands, and Frosty comes in over the top with a nice ulti to save the rest of their team. And honestly, Riddy did so much damage in that fight. It is so unfortunate they were not able to take anyone down. But Nukes was able to live with just enough health to walk out of that fight unscathed, or not unscathed, but was able to just live with enough of health to walk out of that fight, period. But now, I mean, the gold lead again, only 1.5k. There are a lot of camps available for Riddy to take. But I mean, critically, again, the gold is going on to the support. So there is a ray of hope for this Akuma side. The only problem is who is killing your tanks. Who is killing the tanks? Is it looks like Wind is going to be going for the stairs first, sort of as we expected, and Motel is going for a lethality build on Senna. I guess it's nice because you can build Edge of Night, so you have a spell shield, but you're going to be doing so little damage to the likes of Joker, to the likes of Nukes, when they have so much health in their inventory. And someone else, Moose, we haven't really seen get into the game too much, has been Respirate. Has kind of been caught once or twice trying to go for wards and or roams, and has sort of just not really been able to make too much pressure from this Maokai. I feel like we normally see them, walking to mid, using the, using their Nature's Grasp to actually find pressure, but has not really been the case. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, we got a play here potentially on the bottom side. No, it's just going to end up being a root. So, we'll kind of talk about the game state here. Nukes potentially going to go for a play against Wind, and will find the engage. Finally going to get the play. Dawning Shadows will come through to actually give some health back to Wind, but it won't be enough, and Odin will get their first kill of this game. But now a play going on to the bottom side of the Ritz. Teleport's going to come in from Frosty to turn this play on its head, and Respirit is going to be left alone. Teleport's going to come in from Severe, but it might be too little too late. Frosty gets it. Nice steadfast presence, nice keeper's verdict, but not nice enough. Mattel's is gone. Frosty gets a double kill, and once again Dorado Gaming is just faster on the draw, and it's an ace for Dorado Gaming.
I mean, look at the items, and that tells a story. You have a tank item on the Poppy to a damage item on the Pantheon. Not to mention the Pantheon was in that fight close to 3 seconds faster than the Poppy, which in the grand scheme of things is fight changing. So very nice down from Frosty with the quick reaction on that TP. Just a little bit unfortunate. I think Respirate had a good angle there, found the snap engage, but just did not have enough damage to knock down their target fast enough. And it's just going from bad to worse for this Akuma side. 1,000 gold turns into 5. Or rather, I guess 4 in this case, but still a very, very nice advantage for this red side here. And again, I have to say they did a nice job in the mid lane. Nukes and Odin. It was not the prettiest of wombo combos with the Vi and Ari, but they got the flash off of Wind. They killed the Akuma mid laner, and it seems Wind is going to be dead again.
Oh no, and it's just Joker's wild here. I mean, 4-0 and 7 on this Nautilus, 11 out of 12 kill participation. No notes. I have no notes. No notes for this Nautilus.
No, doing a really nice job. You know, has been putting their gold to good use. Gonna have that locket fully finished. Gonna be going for the sled. Oh, Respirate.
Respirate maybe in trouble, and yeah, that will be another kill here. Gonna just go in to give more kills and more damage to Frosty. Now 5-1 on this Pantheon, who, I mean, arguably is having as much of an impactful game as Joker is on the top side of the Rift.
All of Dorado wanted a piece of that kill. No one wanted to be left out of the kill participation percentage, as so much so that they dropped the aggro on the Herald. The flash coming out. Ooh, that was a little wide from Joker there. Motel is doing a nice job to sidestep, not using any sums as a result. But the first Void the first Void objective will be taken by the side of Dorado Gaming in this Rift Herald. Should be using it almost immediately, I think, onto the mid lane here. Or, yeah, no, we'll be using it here. I'm not sure if that knocks down the tower. I think it's a little bit too healthy for that to be the case. But we'll be going for the third dragon. Mountain Soul is critical for both teams here, honestly. With so low damage on the side of Akuma, this Mountain Soul will just make it even harder for them to find and engage. As we see Pantheon roaming down, does have the Starfall available to them, and this is Riddy's death sentence. Oy.
Okay, gonna be a knockup, gonna be the charm landing as well onto Riddy, and that will just secure it here for Dorado Gaming. Gonna be Mountain Soul point for Dorado Gaming, and I mean, if they are able to complete that, Akuma is not killing anybody here. They just don't have the damage.
Yeah, no, they really do not. And I'm trying to look around the map and see, you know, what hope they have, what sort of game plan they have. And it's sort of what we talked about in draft, right? It's kind of coming true this way. Yes, it's going to have the Ceres, will be a little bit tankier, but there's no damage coming out from this Akuma side. They just cannot knock anyone down with, you know, not even taking into account the Mountain Soul, but taking into account, you know, just the gold lead that is sitting in the pockets of Dorado Gaming here. They're just going to have, you know, that little bit extra health from that one ruby crystal that they, you know, have because of the gold advantage, or in some people's case, you know, like Odin, a potential almost 2-item lead, or almost full item lead on their lane opponent. You know, having the Malignant's going to be going for that. Leandri's next. Joker and Respirate have finished items themselves, but thinking about the gold difference, I believe... Oh, hold on, Respirate.
Okay, Respirate maybe in trouble. Joker is not going to land that dredge line, and maybe an opportunity for Akuma to go for a play. Dorado Gaming is caught out of position here, and Joker maybe in trouble. That's going to be a knockup coming in from Nukes, and that will be Respirate going down, and actually Mattel's will be the one that picks up the kill. Nukes going to be able to avoid the QW, but can't avoid the Keeper's verdict. That should do it. 2 kills finally for Akuma Scimitars.
Yeah, and they are shutdowns. That is really, really nicely done. A kill goes on to Motels, finally going to get 700 gold for their troubles there. And so that is going to be so nice for the Akuma 80 carry. I mean, it looked like Respirate got caught again, but the hook going wide from Joker means that the play just does not end fast enough for Dorado Gaming to get it and get out of there. Respirate does a nice job turning with the Nature's Grasp and catches the Vi, who didn't even use ulti in that fight, by the way. I guess just did not want to go forward. But does just such a nice job overall. It's some gold back in the game, down to 4K as the lead with Frosty. No W now.
All right, maybe in trouble. The teleport's going to come in from Odin. This is going to make it a 2v2. Teleport's going to come in from Wind as well. Riddy going to use the Crescent Guard to be able to avoid some of that damage. Now Frosty in trouble. Frosty getting a lot of damage, but it's not enough. It's going to be shut down, and that's going to be Wind picking that one up. Odin going to be able to use the Spirit Rush to be able to get away, but is going to be knocked back into the fight. Now going to be the collapse from Dorado Gaming. Can they get there in time? Nukes is in the area. Does have the cease and desist ready, and Wind is going to be the target. Do they get it? They get the knockup. They should be able to finish the job here on to win, but at what cost? It is a very messy 5v4, and finally, the season assist comes in on to win. 2 kills for Dorado Gaming, and they will at least be able to stop any sort of pressure from Akuma.
Yeah, I think, I mean, Dorado Gaming, I think we're sitting on a whole lot of gold. I see right now Motels is sitting on 1,700. So the fruits from their fight earlier just had not, you know, come forward there. They were sitting on so much gold. Yes, it looks like there's only 4K in the difference, but a lot of that was still in inventory for the side of Akuma. So they were not able to realize just how close they actually were to Dorado Gaming. And as a result, a fight goes the way of Dorado yet again. Yes, they did a nice job picking Frosty, but Odin comes in, is able to stall for enough time, is able to bait the Akuma members for enough time for their team to join, and as a result, again, Joker with a nice hook, Nukes with a nice follow-up, they're able to knock down 2 in their favor. Wind tried very hard to support their top and jungler there, but as a result was the sacrificial lamb. Gold still sitting about around 5K, but when you think about it, I mean, the gold value is so, or sorry, the gold efficiency is so nice for the side of this Dorado Gaming team here. 2 items got to get completed on every carry, bar Nukes so far in this game. Cleaver, Rage Blade, and Leandries are 3 massive items in this game context, as Dragon Soul is going to be spawning in 50 seconds time, and I don't think the members of Akuma will even be close to their second items.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 44 seconds. Baron is up. An earlier Dragon take for Dorado Gaming. If they're able to get it, then it was in game 1, and a pivotal fight. I would say a must-win fight for Akuma, because you cannot give the extra shielding and the extra resistances over to Dorado Gaming. It would just be so impactful for them. But let's go ahead and see if they can do it. A lot of vision here under the dragon for Dorado Gaming to potentially finish the job. Indigo going to be in the mid lane, going to be able to clear out that wave. Severe does have teleport to be able to get into this fight. 10 seconds remaining until dragon spawns.
I like that you said that it has to be a fight win, because if Riddy goes in to steal the dragon, whether he does it or not, that Xin Zhao is most likely dead, and Baron would then be on the table for Dorado Gaming. And we see Dorado are prepared for this. They are trying to fight in that ramp choke, but Akuma, it looks like they're late.
Oh boy, let's see. 5,000 HP remaining on the dragon. Riddy's gonna have to go in. They're not gonna be able to land the dredge line, but that's gonna be the crescent guard used. Dawning Shadow's getting a lot of damage. And on to Joker's gonna get rooted, gonna get tooted, but not gonna go down. Gonna be huge damage coming in from Dorado Gaming, and the damage just is not there by Wind and Motels. The front line is down for Akuma, and Dorado Gaming just have to secure the Drake, and they do. Going to be Mountain Soul for Dorado Gaming, and maybe an ace as they're going to go in for the Grand Starfall. Nope, will be able to avoid it, and that's going to be the end of the fight, but 3 for nothing, or 3 for 1 in favor of Dorado.
Yeah, junglers die for both teams, so it was a little bit hairy for the Dorado Gaming side, but they burst together. They don't let Wind steal it with the QW. Very nicely well done. Mountain Soul now wearing on the side of Dorado Gaming, and they are sitting very nicely with a 5K gold lead in their pocket as well. And I imagine Baron is on the table for them next. It looked really nice for Akuma at the start, but Dorado Gaming, again, just far too healthy, has such a gold lead and a item lead that they were just able to eat whatever the engage was from this Akuma side and just completely turn it back on them. We saw it once Riddy went down, one Respirate went down, there was no one to actually be the front line or, you know, even deal damage for Motels and Wind. And I think credit has to go to these two, to the mid and bot laner of Akuma, right? They did do a bit more damage than I expected them to. The Dawning Shadow from Senna was massive with the lethality build, as well as the ulti coming out from this way did leave Dorado with a fair amount of health missing, as Riddy and Respirate are, I think, trying to greed this blue buff just a little bit.
Crescent Guard's gonna come through. The Chance Corruption will get the root in onto Riddy, onto Respirate, and that might do it for this fight. Gonna be able to take out Riddy as now Motels is caught out of the engage. Gonna be 1 HP. Will be kicked back in with the dredge line. That's gonna be a double kill for Dorado Gaming. Odin going to be able to get away from Wind, who will be able to pick up an objective bounty, but with everybody dead, Dorado Gaming will get the spear onto the tree, and Frosty will be on a killing spree. Baron up for the taking.
It is a 3-for-0, a Baron loss, and their opposite laner survives. So, I mean, Dorado Gaming playing really well here. They're able to sniff out the contest of the blue. The vision setup was such that they knew exactly who was there and who was going to be in that fight, and the chase down was just super clean from this red side here. And on the boss side, we didn't really catch too much of the fight, but Odin was able to escape the gank of Severe under the tower on that bot side. Yes, Akuma were able to collect that bounty on the bot turret, but still, it is a Baron, and now a 7,000 gold lead in favor of the Dorado Gaming side. And that play, like many we've seen so far, has just seemed to be going incredibly in favor of Dorado Gaming.
Yeah, and with Baron now complete, with the Mountain Soul complete as well, I once again just see very few avenues for Akuma Scimitars to be able to come back into this one and win this contest. Now, there are still ways to make it happen. 2 items on Wind is a lot, is definitely damage, but they have to be able to land it, and it has to be probably at a team fight in order for it to be impactful. Are going to get the Baron fight for now, as the first minute of the Baron has concluded. I think we're going for a 1-4 here. I'm not sure what the play is, but maybe you can talk it through for me, Septi.
I think the play is, it will be a 1-4. It was a bit of a delayed 1-4. Hold on. Akuma
They're going to get the fight coming through. Joker going to land a nice dredge line, but that's going to be Frosty caught out. Will go down.
Oh, no.
And the shutdown goes to Severe on the Poppy. Probably the worst person that you want that to hit towards, but the fight isn't over yet. Oh my God, the piercing arrow damage is huge, but Joker's going to be 1 HP. Will end up going down. Win is going to be able to take that kill, but now we got Indigo coming in. Godlike. That's going to be 2 kills for Dorado Gaming. Make it 3 as a double kill for Indigo commences, and that's just a kill diff the Dorado Gaming was happy to take.
Yeah, it looked so close for the side of Akuma. They were fighting in a choke. Hui was getting out so much damage, but once they were able to kill Frosty, I think you just have to take that. You deny the pressure from the Baron. It's just so hard to fight forward there. You take down Joker, you take down Frosty, but the dealers are still there. Nukes was able to go in with the cease and desist. You had Indigo arriving late to that fight, which was really the only reason as to why that was so close for Akuma. But again, just did so much, was so close to that being a really good fight for Akuma. But again, the shutdown went to Severe, which is so unfortunate in this current game state. You would have loved that 600 gold to go on to Hui or Senna. Honestly, even Riddy at this point, who has been, you know, the real engage and the real frontline for this team, using the Crescent Guard really nicely to actually disengage and split these fights, was full tanking Indigo over the wall, by the way, in that fight, which is, again, part of the reason why this Varus was late. But I mean, looking around again, Soul on the table for Dorado Gaming. Baron still, you know, being warned by this red side here. They still have a little bit of time with it. I think about 30 seconds, or maybe it's going to time out in 2 seconds. Yeah, just timed out. But anyway, they're going to have the pressure going in, and just like last game, Dorado Gaming doing a really nice job with this vision setup. They have full control of the vision in this bot side jungle. They are going to see every angle that Akuma decides to approach from. And unlike last game, we're going to see an Elder this time.
Yeah, Elder's going to be a fight, potentially a game-ending buff, but that's going to be an engage onto Indigo. All of the damage going in onto Indigo, and Indigo is still alive! I cannot believe that they survived as long as they did. Are able to take out Respira, going to be able to get the kill onto Win, potentially. Going to be forced flash away, but Joker going to flash in, going to land the Dread Fly, going to land the Root, going to land the damage, and here comes Odin, going to be on a rampage, and that's going to be all of the damage gone for Akuma, and that has just been the story from start to finish. Where is the damage for Akuma? And at this point, it's left on the drafting board, Septi.
Yeah, apparently it wasn't even enough to take down Indigo, which is really unfortunate. They had a really nice catch onto the AD carry of Dorado Gaming, but the rest of their team was there in time to defend them, and it will be an Elder Dragon for the side of this Dorado Gaming side. Indigo will be up for it as well, so that's going to be really nice when the Baron spawns in 90 seconds, but I think Dorado might have plans of ending just a little bit sooner than that. But certainly a really nice fight win. I think, again, Wind caught Indigo out very nicely there with the fear there. And honestly, this Hui skin, all the abilities look exactly the same. So I can't be mad at him for that. But again, credit to Dorado following their teammates around, being close enough to respond at any given angle. It looked so good for Akuma, right? That engage looked so nice. It was onto the exact carry, but then it seemed like the DPS just stopped onto Indigo. Maybe they thought he was dead. Maybe they thought that surely someone else would finish him, and I'm not exactly sure. But I think, you know, it's just so rough for Akuma. Like, what do you say in this team chat? Like, what, we need 2 warm-up games? I don't know.
We'll have to see. But like you were alluding to, Baron is going to be spawning here in 30 seconds. A fight potentially here going to land as Spirit's going to be down to 3/4 HP. Indigo is once again late to this party, but will be here for a potential fight, potential game-ending fight for Dorado Gaming. If they can do it, it will end up being match point, a potential for that quick 3-0. And with a 10,000 gold advantage, everything is lining up to go into their favor, as we are going to be seeing them push away any sort of vision that Akuma has inside their own jungle. Now an opportunity for them to be able to go for this inner tower. Doesn't look like that is the call. They want to go for this Baron, and they are going to start it.
Yeah, I mean, key abilities missing. No flashes on either carries for this Akuma side. And it looks like they're just going to let the Baron fall. It is, you know, it is slightly okay for Akuma here. Dorado Gaming are timing out their Elder by going for this Baron. It should be dead in either, I think it's about, or it should run out in about 6 seconds time, I believe, because Elder is a 2-minute timer. Baron is a 3-minute timer, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Elder is a 2:30 timer. Yeah, Elder is a 2:30 timer. Baron is a 3-minute timer. But Severe, you are not where you're supposed to be, my friend.
Yeah, going to be forced to flash away. Hex Flash is available for Joker, but nope, going to just back up. And so for the time being, both Dorado Gaming, all of Dorado Gaming members are going to be wearing both purple and silver or gray or whatever it's called for the next couple of seconds. And maybe an opportunity for them to finish the job.
They certainly want to at least open up the base. This has sort of been the problem that Dorado Gaming have had. I think they more, you know, than have enough pressure and or damage to just siege down the base. Some nerves maybe coming into this. Again, playoffs, they bring out something in people that, you know, some choke, some rise to the pressure. But Akuma, or not, sorry, Akuma, Dorado playing very safe here, trying to not get caught. They need to be using multiple lanes. They need to be using the power of this Ahri and of this Pantheon to really just buff the side lanes. I mean, they could absolutely be knocking on the door of Akuma here if they work together. About 90 seconds left on this Baron buff for them. And it looks as though now the waves are synced and will crash together.
Yeah, this is what they've been waiting for, a potential game-ending opportunity. I mean, we've been waiting to see this game end for a little while, so credit to Akuma for being able to hold on as long as they have. A 10,000 gold advantage, all of the plays and all of the items and all of the kills that Dorado Gaming has. It is now time for them to show what they can do and get this game completed under their belt. It is going to be the inhibitor tower going to go down in the bottom lane. It's going to be the inhibitor tower finally going down in the top lane as well. Minute 11 remaining on Baron as the close is definitely coming in. They're going to go for the engage here in the mid lane. Great Chains of Corruption, great Dawning Shadows, great Season Assist, and an awesome damage onto her Spirit. Now going to be an opportunity for them to go for more. Joker not going to be able to hit the dredge line, but they will be able to take out Severe. They will be able to take out Respire. Indigo going to be extremely low, thanks to that spiraling despair. But with Baron up for another 45 seconds, Dorado Gaming Zeta can look to go for 3 inhibitors and potentially a game end. As the teleport's going to come in from Odin. Nukes, you're not going to be able to hit the Vault Breaker on Mattel's. And the Nexus is now on the menu for Dorado Gaming. They're going to land the charm and the kill onto Wind. And that should do it. It'll be a game 3 situation for Dorado Gaming being up 2-0.
Yeah, they finally just pulled the trigger on the base once the tower goes down, and Joker feels strong enough to just go for the hook onto Riddy. Finds the engage really nicely. Riddy does a good job disengaging, or trying to rather spread the fight out with the likes of their support there. And just, again, a really nicely done play by the side of Dorado Gaming. They were able to knock them down in the end. Still had the Baron buff available to them, but yeah, it just took that first domino to fall, being that mid tower, and then the rest of it came falling quickly after. Dorado Gaming with another convincing game number 2. I mean, game number 1, yes, they had a sub. Yes, Akuma had a sub. Game number 2, there was no sub to be seen for this blue side. and it looked as though Dorado Gaming had their number, whether it was in draft or whether it was in gameplay. It just looked really clean. There were a couple fights that were like, maybe Akuma has it here, but it just was not the case. I think credit has to go to Joker a bit. I mean, absolutely ran the early game, picked up a few kills, but then did not get another one for the rest of the game. There had almost 100% KP, missing out on one singular one. Not quite sure which one it is. But I mean, I'm sure Joker is kicking himself that he's not 31 for 31. But yeah, I mean, someone on Akuma has to get Win some help, because this guy for 2 games in a row now has been top damage, has been really solid in these games, and just has not had the team around him to, really follow up on the plays he's made. I mean, again, hark back to that Varus catch in the mid lane, just not enough damage to follow up. Wind used his entire kit, was able to land all the damage, and was consistently doing a whole bunch throughout this game. I mean, the numbers say it all, right?
Sure. And I mean, you're right. Like, I think, Win did great work. I think both in game 1 and game 2, it just was not enough for them to be able to secure the advantages that they needed in the mid game, the advantages that they had to have in the early game. But with that being said, it's still a best of 5 series. We are not done yet. Akuma is not out of the AML just quite yet. They have one more opportunity to potentially come back into this one here in game 3. We'll jump into that draft in just a minute. We'll be right back.
Fellow armsmen, I ask you, will you follow me tonight to break their spine and reclaim what once was mine? Those cravens backstabbed me, deceived me. Never shall I tolerate their crimes again. Now let the hunt begin. Oh, 7,000 souls scared and daunted, such a tale of woe. Not too long ago, this village was a golden scene of hope. Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal power. Lead us to order. I am the light bringer. Fellow warriors, I ask you, should my campaign come to an end, there's way more to avenge. Oh, 15 million souls living in
Welcome back, everybody, to the Aegis Marauders League. We are now ready to jump into Game 3 here of this round of 16 series. Akuma down 2 games to Dorado Gaming, and it's an opportunity for it to be a clean sweep. And as we jump into this draft, you were talking about building a composition potentially around wind to perform well. Do you still believe that that is going to be the case, that is the winning play potentially for Akuma?
I mean, you got to play towards your strengths, right? And wind clearly has been on his game tonight. I think wind and Riddy have both been playing really well. Not to say the rest of the team hasn't, but notably, from the Akuma side, they have been showing up a whole lot. I mean, wind again, top damage on his team, which damage numbers, whatever. But I mean, has just been looking really nice. We saw they just were absolutely hammering the mid lane in that game number 2 there, just constantly going towards wind, trying to find some way to knock this mid laner down. But I mean, the real thing that Akuma have to do is find some way to stop Frosty, because that guy counterpicked himself with R5 last game, and it did not matter. It looked like the Poppy was the one on the losing side of the matchup. Despite having the steadfast presence to be able to interrupt the stun coming out from Pantheon, which I don't think we ever saw.
No, we didn't really see it at all.
Any moments in particular. But I mean, if they were to play that disengage style again, I would just much prefer to see the likes of a Talia or a Tom Kench. Something that offers you damage and security, moving backwards, as opposed to just trying to stand your ground and split the fight. As Akuma gonna ban the Senna this time, just not finding the groove anywhere. Well, they banned the Varus too, because that seems to be the only logical conclusion I can come to, unless they have an answer specifically into Varus that they want to play. I talked about it a bit in game 1, but Kog'Maw has sort of been the switch in and out for both these teams here, or will they just stick with something like the Gwen ban that we've seen in the first 2 games? Because honestly, I don't think banning out Lee Sin is something you have the capacity to do right now. Braum would be the takeaway, which signals to me that Akuma want a Nautilus pick, which is pretty telegraphed at this point. But again, Dorado Gaming have played the Nautilus 2 games in a row. Nico going to be the hover, as it is no longer banned against them. Was not banned in either game, but they banned it themselves. Now we'll be locked in B number 1. So really interesting draft change-ups from Dorado on blue side.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a bit telling as well for Akuma to say, okay, Indigo, we're going to take away not only the Senna, but we're also going to take away the Smolder, as the Misfortune gets hovered. And it almost feels like the entire composition has just finally been laid out here for Akuma with the J4 MF. You're trying to get everyone locked into a small space. I'm now suspecting, Seraphine on the table. I'm now suspecting other things to be able to lock down, maybe even that Poppy again.
Yeah, we like a press R here on Akuma this game, which makes more sense now why they banned the Braum. Leona, a very typical answer into Misfortune, able to just fire the ulti at whatever the bullet time is coming from. Nautilus, another good answer if they wanted to go for it, but no, will be the Sun Champion. I don't even know if that's her name, but that just sounds
Leona?
like a good tag. Yeah. But no, Leona Nico, so much CC already on the side of Dorado Gaming. It is for sure it is for sure a Merc Treads game, if not even a Tenacity Rune. As we might have a little bit of an issue here, as it appears. No, Lee Sin potentially going to be the lock-in here, will do so. As Lee Sin Nico is a very interesting combo, but Akuma, I mean, have picked probably 2 of the most, not one directional, but they are not hiding their hand at all. As I don't like a Heimer here, but it is good into Leona in isolation. And given, I mean, not to flame it, but given how Respirate has played the last 2 games, I'm not sure picking a fragile mage would be the answer. Yeah, it will not be the case here. Rel gonna be locked in.
Yeah, Rel gonna be a little bit better. And so, the draft updates or the draft changes are definitely coming into effect here with the Nico and Lee Sin both banned away by Akuma in both games 1 and 2. Or not, I'm sorry, Dorado Gaming banned out the Nico, but regardless, both of them banned away in game 1 and 2, and now gonna be available. These are comfort picks for Dorado Gaming. And for Akuma, you know, this is signaling to me saying, hey, you know, if we're going to go out, we're going to go out on our terms. We're going to go out in a composition that we feel like we're going to be comfortable playing. And now Dorado Gaming just have to say, okay, let's make that as challenging as possible. The Poppy, very easy to lock in here, going to be able to take that away. What else do you think would be a good takeaway for Dorado against Akuma?
I almost want to think that this is a BM Poppy ban. Because Poppy is so good for this Dorado side here. I can't really think of why Poppy would be banned by Dorado, because they need damage in these last two picks from Akuma. They need a damage top laner and they need a damage mid laner. Yes, I guess an isolation Poppy is good into Leona and Lee Sin, but it's just funny to see the blue side banned in this game. Fiora Gwen gonna get taken off the board for Akuma. They just don't want to have these annoying split push tank killers against Severe this game, which signals to me that there's gonna be maybe an Ornn or a Scion here. On this next pick. Aatrox is available though, so the champion that's been banned all game is going to be left up, which is kind of surprising that Dorado Gaming have let it through. It is a very nice pickup here. It is one of those champions, you know, that can solo win you a fight if left alone. It draws a whole lot of pressure away from the MF as well when you have an Aatrox coming in from the side. But I mean, again, yeah, it is Aatrox blind, which is a little bit crazy when we have the mid laner already picked. But I mean, we talked about it, right? Wind is the piece that, you know, Akuma has been playing around, has been doing well for them in this game. So no sense in leaving them out to dry by blind picking them anyway, or by picking them early. Probably gonna get the lock in for this top lane, I'd assume, and it seems as though Dorado is feeling themselves just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Akali gonna be the lock-in as I almost fall out of my chair. Akali gonna come in. Kaisa, I like it. I like it. Be able to get out.
This is an ego solo queue draft if I've ever seen it.
Ego solo queue. No, this is a competitive game, and we're not seeing any of that happen.
Sure?
New though. Hold on.
That's not gonna happen. Don't get baited.
I would never.
This Dorado team, this composition, with the way they've been playing the first few games, I mean, this is the type of game that you'd want to play it in, right? You're stomping the mid to late of the last two games. You're able to, you know, if you're able to get it a lead early with this composition, you should easily be able to run through the entirety of this Akuma team, as we just get an Orianna lock in for Wind, which is okay. It is, you know, it fits the theme. Press R, Jarvan goes in, Orianna goes in. The only issue is that Dorado Gaming are very slippery in this game. I think every single one of those champions will be able to get around the engage. You know, bar Leona and Nico, but again, they don't really care. If they get engaged on, they'll just press their R's, they'll press their stun abilities. So it's going to be really tough for this Misfortune unless they go on hit to really make a lasting impression. I think Akuma have a more solid draft than the last two games is how I'll put it. I think they have the chance, if they play together, if they fight well and coordinated, that they could easily, you know, snap the ankles with the Dorado team and really catch them out. But it's going to require, again, on teamwork, on coordination, and just playing the game fundamentally correct. Don't be walking into things alone. You know, communicate where you see people that could be of danger, and just play concise and controlled League of Legends. That's all.
Fair enough. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the Dragon Draft here for game 3. I was correct once again. I'm on a little bit of a hot streak here today. I've got a Mountain Soul. I'll have you start again.
Surely it's Hextech Soul this time, right?
Yes, it is. I am gonna go with Infernal Soul, and I'm gonna go with Mountain Soul again.
You know what? I will take the Chemtech Dragon this time.
Oh, goody! Thank God.
and I'm gonna go with Ocean. Or did you take Ocean?
I did not take Ocean.
Okay, I will take Ocean then.
Alrighty, and then I will take Cloud. And for Akuma, you know, a must-win game for them in order to make sure that they can keep this series going. Dorado Gaming maybe playing a little fast and loose, or maybe showing how confident and how much of a competitor they are here in the AML. If they're able to take this series, it definitely makes a statement to the rest of the teams here in the league that the Shurima division was indeed the killer division this season. And with that being said, we're going to jump into a quick break. When we come back, game 3 will commence. We'll be right back.
To redemption on the other side. We're standing in the burning light.
Welcome back, everyone, to game number 3. It is do or die time for Akuma Scimitars. Dorado Gaming on the blue side now. This game we have swapped sides from the previous two. Dorado Gaming up 2-0, and we have gotten ourselves a little bit of an interesting game here. I think Akuma have drafted themselves a composition that is going to rely heavily on team execution and communication. And it seems as though Dorado Gaming are going to try and take this game number 3 to Akuma and really stamp their authority on this playoff scene.
For sure, and do it in style. But
yeah,
also, to be fair, I mean, Nukes and Odin on champions that they are, they got banned out in games 1 and game 2, and an opportunity for them to maybe show off why those are banned against them here in this series.
Yeah, Motels as well on a champion that they're pretty well known for in this MF, something that at least is comfortable for them. And looking at the top side, Aatrox picked for the first time this series was banned in the previous 2 games. So we're going to have to see. Red side did look pretty good for this Dorado team in the first 2 games. And as a result, I mean, we have swapped sides. I think Akuma just wasn't in the business of trading AD carries anymore. They wanted to have counterpick for themselves, and they have used it to draft themselves this Orianna into Nico, which honestly is not bad. I think Wynn's Orianna is very good, especially in combination with the Jarvan, who can lock down opponents and really create that space for their carries to hit. It is a champion that does require you to be safe. I imagine Nukes once again will be in the mid lane quite a bit this game to try and put pressure on the Akuma AD carry. But I mean, looking at this bot lane, it is going to be probably a pretty active bot lane. Joker already looking again just now, looking to go in at level 1 with the Zephyr, or with whatever their E is called. I think it's Zephyr or Zenith Strike. No, Zenith, whatever. Anyway, doesn't matter. Was looking to go in. Zenith Blade, so close. Zephyr is the item, and I got half of the name right. But no, I mean, Motels and Respite have been pretty solid in the first 2 games. Respite got caught out a few times in game number 1 and 2, but nothing too detrimental. And I think for the first time this game, unless Nukes decides to do something crazy here, we are going to have a full clear versus full clear jungle.
Incredible.
I know.
No camp unturned.
Hey, I mean, Akuma wants to play for level 6. Let's let them play for level 6.
And let's see if they are able to do it. Odin starting off the round, getting a lot of damage in on the win. Sad bees are going to drop. No ignite, but Odin may be looking to finish the job here. Will get the clone to get Win down to 100 HP. That's going to be pots consumed already to start this off.
Yeah, and Frosty putting a whole lot of pressure onto Severe up on the top side. No flash on the Akali, but does have the... Oh, no.
Oh no! And Frost is gonna get it and will walk away with murder. First blood for Dorado Gaming.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. Severe is gonna use the TP, but I was just gonna say this no flash is gonna have to be abused by Riddy here at some point. But Severe gets hit by the E, as we did have it. Oh, hold on.
The play is going to come in, a little bit of damage onto Indigo, but the fight is going to go on to Mattel's, going to find the Sonic Blade, and that's going to be a 1-for-1 as the Rel will be able to take out Indigo, but Mattel is going to fall. Nukes and Joker going to be able to get away. Meanwhile, Odin is going to be able to take out Win. Nuke is 1 HP, able to survive the stun just outside of turret range, but still effective for Dorado Gaming to have a 2-kill advantage.
Yeah, and it looked really clean there for the side of Akuma. They got the engage that they wanted, but Mattel has just ignored every danger sign in front of them, trying to get the kill onto Indigo. The enemy AD carry does end up going down there to the ignite of Respite, so kill going back the way of Akuma, but still, it is going to be already, again, a 500 gold lead for the side of Dorado Gaming here. They're able to pick up a solo kill in mid as well, as Severe does have flash available.
Gonna be able to get
forced to use it. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that Frosty is going to just kill the Aatrox if they get level 6 soon. And so as a result, Severe gonna take the base here to try and regain some health. And this is not what you want to be seeing if you are Akuma fans going into game number 3. It is looking rough. I'm speaking as one of those fans, but anyway. No, I mean, Nukes and Odin, again, showing why these champions have been banned against them. Wind is going to get caught out here as Nukes. Will they find the Q? No, not going to throw it there. Maybe a little bit greedy for the Raptors.
Oh, no, doesn't get the Sonic Blast, but that will be enough pressure at least to get them off the Raptors. But it is going to be a roam from Joker to be able to secure these Void Grubs. We will not talk about that Q missing, but at the end of the day, an opportunity for them to get the Void Grubs for the first time in the series.
Yeah, I mean, they will pick up the first grubs. Riddy has been pretty on top of it in the first 2 games, but that was more so because Nukes was focusing bot side rather than Riddy really focusing too hard on grubs, was just trying to trade something back for his team. As Motels and Respite are going to get the crash here onto this bot side here. Indigo does have the support now of Joker, so should be able to collect the whole wave themselves. That ward behind them should get spotted out, and it's now Riddy is going to try and trade for this dragon here. Level 4 on Nukes, so not the scariest of things, but Odin could pop the RN flash here if they decide to go for this play.
And they're maybe going to see it. Eyes on the mid lane, and they miss the ult. Shockwave's going to land, and Odin
really
will fall. Nicely done from Wind. Great flash.
Yeah, really nicely done by Wind. Pre-flashes the Nika ulti, which was kind of predicted, as there's really only one way for Odin to get on top of Wind at that point. Flashes it, and then there are no minions fully under tower for Odin to actually tank up the tower. I mean, they didn't fully push the wave going for that sequence there, and so it just left Odin to tank the tower all by his lonesome. Nuke misses the Q, and so I mean, just a free kill coming out from Wind as a result. As again, we get to see another look at this top side. Is Frosty already up 15 CS in this lane, not taking into account that wave on screen. But I mean, gold lead relatively even, 500 either way is not really too much. A Severe trying to find a way to hold this wave in front of his tower is not going to be able to do so. Forced to use all of their Qs to collect the wave, and probably will be forced to either let just Akali push the wave or recall here, because that Aatrox is not allowed to stay on the wave when Akali has ult and ignite. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, gonna be forcing the back away here. First dragon, like you said, was gonna be taken by Akuma. It is gonna be that Ocean Drake. Hex Flash gonna come in from Respire, gonna try to find a kill potentially on to Odin, but Odin will be fine enough to be able to just walk out of that one, taking a little bit of damage.
A little curious there. No shockwave available for Wind. Means that Respirate's attention, unappreciated, was not the most impactful. I think something to note from Odin is that they've been landing a bunch of nice E's this game. Oh,
that root's gonna land, and that will do it. Odin will take that kill, and that's a big wave. Also denied.
I gotta stop talking, because anyway, Odin lands a very nice E onto Wind, and it's just a really nicely coordinated play. Nukes was hanging out a vision just there, and Indigo doesn't have flash, but does have the killer instinct available should Riddy decide to just straight up ult this. And Respite has to be careful not to draw too much attention to the bush there, as yeah, something like that will happen where the W comes in. And I'm pretty sure, yes, they spotted out Riddy there with that danger ping, just enough to get the vision, as we really want to figure out what's going on in the spot lane. Does direct to camera, but yeah, nothing too crazy happening there. Going back to the mid lane. CS numbers relatively even, except for the 20 CS lead in favor of Frosty on that top side.
Yeah, and that's resulting in a bit of that 1,000 gold damage, that 1,000 gold lead that we've been seeing all series long, that Dorado Gaming has started with in the first 10 minutes. It continues here in game 3. Frosty, though, maybe gonna find Wind, and maybe gonna find a kill. Wind maybe not paying attention, and now potentially could go down. Perfect execution's gonna commence. Ignite is available, and that will be it. Frosty will take that kill, but now maybe in trouble. Gonna go into the Shroud, is gonna have the assistance from Odin here in just a second. Uses the blast code to get away, and now Severe maybe in trouble. Will it be, I think, lucky, it's the counting as lucky stars that he didn't get dove on.
Yeah, I mean, that E cooldown is not very short in the early levels. I think it's maybe about 7 or 8 seconds. So it was not the smartest, I'd say, of E's, but it's fine. It was a neutral play there. But yeah, I mean, did a nice job. Was able to escape the fight. Again, Frosty coming down, not even forced to use Ignite to kill Wind there on that Orianna. We'll pick up a nice little gold lead. Already has a bounty on their head. Sitting 1,200 gold ahead of their counterpart is massive at this point of the game. We are not even 10 minutes in, and there's already a team 1,000 gold lead for this Dorado Gaming side. And again, this Nico and Lee Sin, hold on.
No. Go, you were saying.
No, this Nico and Lee Sin haven't really even gotten too involved in the map play so far. Once they do, it'll be a whole lot harder for Akuma to play. I mean, the wobble combo of the AP and AD of those two will be really strong as we look to see a pretty telegraphed play here.
All right, the play is going to commence, and Motel's going to take a little bit of damage. The bullet time will commence. Nicely done, but the sun's going to land, and Indigo using the killer instinct will not be enough. That's going to be the pop bottom landing for Motel, but Odin cannot finish the job. So much resources allocated, and finally going to be some damage going down. Odin's going to fall. Indigo's going to fall. Frosty does not get the kill, and that's finally a winning play for Akuma. A double kill for Motel's.
That is so massive for this Akuma side. That is exactly what you need in this type of game where it looked to be slipping away from you just a bit, but then you make a play that is just absolutely going to level out the gold. In fact, swing the gold in the other direction. You get the shutdown onto Misfortune. You get the full tower on this bot side. That is exactly what you need in this game state. And we are, honestly, that is the pick-me-up you need. If you are this Akuma side, you're able to then, you know, take this gold and start spreading it out. You finish your items. You should be back on the map as well to contest this dragon. And honestly, yeah, that is I know I've said it twice, but that is exactly what you need. It was a 5v5 of all things at 11 minutes into the game.
I mean, finally, Akuma waking up to this fight where this game, welcome to the party, and they give Dorado Gaming pause to see if they can just run the Rift at this point. And as you had alluded to, big shutdowns going over to Motels, and now an opportunity for them to carry in this game as Yomu's is unlocked. Sundered Sty is completed for Riddy. 269 stacks on the Archangels for Wind. Things are going right for Akuma Scimitars for the first time in this series. And now, what can they do with this slight advantage?
I'm pretty sure the first thing that they can do is probably move their bot lane to mid lane. There's no tower left for them to take. There's no real reason for them to be sitting down. Wind doesn't have TP just yet, but the pressure coming out from this MF should be enough to actually allow them to get so much more vision control of the map. We'll be contesting this bush potentially here as Riddy's going to find nukes.
Gonna find the Q, not going to commit into it though. Shockwave is ready for Wind, as well as the Cataclysm and Bullet Time. So this could be a big wombo combo play, the type of play that Akuma is looking for, but this time Nukes is going to be here. This is a 4v4 potentially for both sides. No teleports available for Severe or Frosty, as the Dragon is now started, going to be, I think, given over to Akuma wisely by Dorado Gaming.
And yeah, I think Dorado Gaming are smart here. Once Akuma has the setup, it's really hard to walk into them. And for Akuma, I think they just had to be content with just pulling the trigger on an objective, because you want the likes of, you know, Nukes, Odin, Indigo to walk into you, so you allow Riddy to have a clear path as to who the target would be in a fight. To press that R, I mean, it allows for Spirit also to get a flank on the side to find a crash down into Magnet Storm. But no, for the time being, again, they're going to try and trade the top objectives. I believe they took away the Raptors. We'll grab the Krugs as well. And now Severe will be in a bit of trouble here. Missing Ping is going down onto the top side here. Severe will spot them taking the Grubs, or the Krugs rather. But not much will come of it, as Duke's, you know, just going to even up the CS lead in that top side. And first item's going to be completed across the board for the side of Akuma, not including supports, of course. We'll be going for an interesting item. I don't think that builds into Trailblazer. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. That item is probably going to be Trailblazer on Respite. But anyway, doing a nice job. They have decided to move Motels to mid, which will be nice regarding the pressure. Herald is up now for the side of Akuma, and they should be going for it here. Because, again, like I said, they want to be drawing the fights. They want to be starting the fights. Let's hold on, Frosty. Going to be going in on Sphere.
Yeah, World Ender's going to be landed as now the teleport's going to come through. They can't try to finish the job. Severe, 1 HP, but is going to be able to survive. The teleport's going to come in from Odin. Just have the Pop Blossom ready. Going to go in onto Wind. Wind is a target, and Wind will be at half HP. Not going to go down, though. The Bullet Time not going to land in on to Joker, but this fight is going in on its head. And it's a double kill for Wind once again. And another fight where Dorado Gaming did not have all the pieces in play.
Yeah, and critically, I mean, Indigo walked out bot side to try and farm the wave, but went to the same lane as Odin, and so that turned into a 4v5. As TP now coming in from Frosty does not have the perfect execution available yet, but does have more than enough damage to take down Wind, and will do so.
Okay, there we go. At least it's a shutdown here for Dorado, but the Rift Herald is still started. Multiple members of Dorado Gaming now in the areas where Spirit going to be able to find the stun on the Joker. Joker potentially in trouble. Joker does not have the Dragon's Rage yet. Gonna get knocked up, but is still alive. And Akuma is going to be able to back away. The Rift Herald despawned.
Yeah, I mean, they sent too many top lane in, so just did not have the damage to knock down that Rift Herald fast enough. I know it's a play that's really scary for Akuma because this happened to them last game where they won a fight. They had all the gold that they had just won from that fight in inventory. And so when they accidentally stayed on the map far too long, they still fought a second time with that first gold in inventory. And it almost happened again there. I mean, the fact that only wind goes down is really lucky for the side of Akuma. I believe that Frosty more than likely had enough damage to kill Motels as well. But Dorado Gaming gonna take their small win, gonna force them off the Rift Herald and try and retake some vision control on the map. Joker gonna be basing with that sled as well. Does have some decent vision setup, not as aggressive as the last game, but granted, the gold lead is not there for Dorado Gaming at this point in the game. Similarly though, it will be a Hex Tech, so like I said before the game, surely 3 times in a row it won't be the Hex Tech, and it is for this third game. That is a very, very exciting Drake for both teams in this game. Just the slow as well as the lightning striking across multiple people is just going to be so nice for both teams. Especially, I mean, you get the ability haste as well for champions like Jarvan, like Orianna, where, you know, just those milliseconds really make a difference when it comes to your abilities being up or not. Could be really exciting as we see the bases start coming out from Akuma, which tells me that they're starting to get ready for this dragon.
Yeah, and fun fact, Septi, not only did you correctly guess the Hextech Drake, but you also correctly guessed the first 2 in the Ocean and the Chemtech. You got all 3 of them here in this series. It's a hat trick for you.
Oh,
For the first time in the total of the AML. Anything is possible. As we do get ourselves ready potentially for a fight, Joker going to blast coning away as Wind looking to go in as well. Riddy maybe going for the Cataclysm and does land it onto Joker. Joker's going to be able to get out, but now he's going to be 1 HP, and gets going back into the fight. Going to be able to land the Solar Flare onto Wind and does survive, does not go down.
I don't think Akuma can fight this next dragon. They sort of whiffed their engage just a little bit. No one actually finished Joker. And that Misfortune ulti just didn't do nearly enough to knock them down. And as a result, they are down on ulti economy, which is really scary when you're playing against the likes of Akali, Nico, and Kaisa. Not only that, Rustbird is very low going into this fight, doesn't have the Magnet Storm. But Akuma, they have decided that this is the hill that they will die on. As Wind gonna get spotted by nukes here. Yeah, this is not the same fight as you had 2 seconds ago when you tried to fight in the same position. Joker gonna miss the engage for the time being. And I really think that Akuma needs to pull off this dragon.
And maybe that is going to finally be the option here. They're going to go towards the side of the Rift Herald, and it looks like it is going to be a trade. Rift Herald for a dragon, but the dragon's actually getting melted quite quickly. Maybe an opportunity for Dorado Gaming to go for a double buff play here. Indigo gonna come in, and the rest of Dorado Gaming are looking to go towards the mid side of the Rift. 4 members of Akuma now going to the top side to pick up the Rift Herald. They will be able to get it in time, so no opportunity to go for that. Meanwhile, it is going to be a push here on the bottom side. Severe going to get ignited. World Ender's going to proc as Nukes is going to come in as well as Indigo. This is going to be a dive onto Severe, and Severe will end up going down. Nuke is 1 HP, and Joker might have to secure the kill. Does end up giving it over to Frosty, thank God.
So close.
Nicely done by Severe.
Close. Yeah, nicely done by Severe. So very close. Got both ignites out of the side of Dorado. Got the ulti and the ghost out of Indigo. And on the other side of the map, I mean, their team is trading a whole bunch of objectives. They're able to grab the Rift Herald. They're going to chunk down both the mid and top tower. A whole bunch here. But now they are going to be down 4v5. Granted, Severe does have TP, but with no motels, it looks as though Akuma are just going to take their trade and go out of the jungle. And honestly, I'd argue that that is a pretty neutral trade, as Dorado do not want to let Akuma hold any control of this topside river. Joker going to be trying to start planting vision for the spawn of this Baron in 10 seconds time. And I gotta credit Severe, because I think a lot of people would not have survived nearly as long as that Aatrox did. Did a nice job to pop the World Ender, got the healing for the passive, and was almost able to walk out if Joker was not there covering the play. But I mean, yeah, well done from Dorado. Severe, very close. Try again. But checking in on the rest of the game, it will be about 1,500 gold lead for the side of Akuma, and that really just translates into the finished Seraphs for Wind versus the almost finished Shadow Flame onto Odin. Really scary champion in this game is going to be Frosty on the Sakali. Will most likely one-shot Motels if they're ever on their screen. So gonna be just a little bit worrisome for the Akuma side, and maybe a nice vow needs to be picked up by either Riddy or Respirate.
Yeah, something that I do want to highlight is that Dorado Gaming, in a lot of their series in the Shurima division, they did really well at being able to accumulate gold as a team, some of the highest in the league on average with their game. And so you're definitely seeing, I think, that kind of equate here with a 60 CS advantage for Frosty against Severe, pretty even CS across the from Nukes and Indigo, a slight CS advantage for Wind, who I'm saying is having a pretty stellar game on the Orianna, despite the stat line. I think that the Shockwaves have been doing pretty well, but a longer game may be going to benefit Dorado Gaming here if they are able to get Frosty to that third item and really then start to obliterate Mattels on the sidelines. These team fights could be put on their head. So it's got to be up to Akuma to make sure that they have eyes on Frosty at all times. They got to stay Frosty even.
The thing about a long game currently is just going to be that Frosty into Severe will just that gold lead will continue to grow. As Severe just cannot contest the Akali inside. And so again, yeah, as you said, the longer this...
Indigo maybe in trouble. Cataclysm's gonna pop, gonna be forced to flash. So Cataclysm for flash, not a bad trade.
It was flash, it was Cataclysm and Shockwave.
Cataclysm,
Shockwave went, exactly.
And it was Killer Instinct, not flash, pardon me.
Correct, yeah. So very good trade for Indigo. That is a thumbs up moment right there. That is a send more in all chat. So I mean, again, yeah, this matchup on the sideline is just going to continue to get worse and worse for Severe. Because look at where this Aatrox is currently. Doesn't know where the Akali is. Cannot step up to the wave in neutral. And is going to be playing to cover the mid lane. Like it is so sad currently. Should be going, I believe, for the Spear of Shojin as their next item, which more or less means that this Aatrox will not be doing the same, Zeus level damage that we see when he's going for the Hydra item, for the or for the whatever, the lethality Aatrox build that we normally see coming out from Zeus. But again, Severe is not allowed to side lane unless the Akali is somewhere else, and that is just going to continue to hamper both the XP as well as the gold. And I mean, just look at the levels of those top laners. Level 14 on Frosty to level 12 on Severe. It is so hard for this Aatrox to play.
Yeah, and I mean, 0, 3, and 5 definitely not doing them any favors. The Dragon now going to be started. Those ultimates that were used by Akuma are back online, but the flash from Riddy is not. A lot of damage onto Respire, going to be crashing down away. That is no crash down for the time being, as Dragon now could potentially be started by Dorado Gaming, and they are indeed going to start it. Joker maybe out of this fight, but Frosty going to be able to go in for the flank. Wind could potentially come in. Pop Blossom's going to commence, and it's a big Pop Blossom. I was even bamboozled as Joker is going to come in with the Solar Flare, with the flash, with the Ignite, but it's not quite enough damage yet. Indigo wants to kill onto Battels, and we'll get him with a Killer Instinct, but will they finish the job? Indigo gonna have to use the blast, gonna be able to get away, and does. Frosty comes back, and it's a 3 for 2 in favor of Dorado Gaming.
Yeah, that is really insane that there wasn't an ace from either team there. That was a really nice flank coming out from Odin there. Got the Pop Blossom. Was forced to use both the Protobelt and the Flash. But I mean, it was really nice, well played. I think the Crash Down Magnet Storm and the Bullet Time are used really nicely by the Akuma bot lane there to really even out the fight. Now Frosty, with that TP coming in from Wind, will surely be forced to back away. Ooh, so very nice done from Akuma. They saved what was looking to be a really scary fight. Critically though, Kai'Sa did pick up a shutdown onto
Hold on, this fight might not be over. The Zeta Blade is going to come in. Severe's going to come through. A lot of damage on the nuke, so Ignite is going to commence. Big solar flare! Massive solar flare from Joker! And the pop blossom is neck! Oh my god! Might just be the best play that we have ever seen in the AML in this season. Dorado Gaming, get the ace!
Yeah, that was really nice and well played. Joker and Nukes and Odin all combining for a crazy play in the choke there. I mean, that was set up by a massive root coming out from Odin into just a really nice ulti from Joker and Nukes. And now, Akuma might have gotten the dragon, but Dorado Gaming are going to take the gold lead and the Baron and the top tower. And what looked to be a pretty stable game for the side of Akuma has completely fallen off the rails.
Hunger of the Void buff as well, and it's an opportunity for Dorado Gaming to really accelerate this game state here. If they can get this Baron play to be super effective, it might actually seal the deal and give Dorado Gaming the gold advantage necessary to win this next team fight. We'll see if they're able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, this game has certainly been going on longer than the last two games. I think we probably... I don't know. I'm not even sure if Soul saves the game for Akuma at this point. Zakali and Nico are so strong. This Kai'Sa's build is also really interesting. Will probably be that Terminus next, so just going a little bit defensively. But yeah, I mean, Dorado Gaming fully in control of this game. They are able to play on 3 lanes with the champions they have, and Akuma are going to try very hard to find and engage onto this mid lane, use their Wamo combo that they drafted for. But Dorado are just not giving them the angle, have the fog on the bot side of the jungle, and we'll use that to take the bot tower. Not even caring about that mid tower just yet. Nukes will go collect the wave, though, to increase the pressure on the map. And Akuma, they are trying to find an angle. I don't know how many times I could say it or how emphatically I could say it. It has to be, they have, you know, again, many angles to go for it. They have the Crashdown, they have the Jarvan, they have even the Orianna Shockwave can just be its own setup. As Ree gonna be on a flank here.
Spirit does not have flash though, and that's going to be the flash from Indigo to be able to get out of the Cataclysm. The Pop Blossom lands. They aren't able to cancel out the bullet time though, and Wind, they will be able to get one on the Nukes. However, Frosty now going to come in, going to get a lot of damage onto, oh my god! Oh, it's gets so much damage! Oh my god! Shutdown's gonna commence.
That's gonna be game! That's just game! Frosty goes down from the top lane, drops their wave, comes in and absolutely crushes the hopes of Akuma in the AML Masters winter bracket. Oh my goodness, what a play from the Dorado Gaming top laner. It looked to be such a good engage as well. Or not really, it looked to be an engage coming out from Akuma there. They engaged pretty far from their carries, and as a result, let both Leona and Nukes tie up the carries of their team. Respirate and Riddy tried so hard to close the gap for their carries, but not able to make it happen. And it'll just be a clean 3-0 from this Dorado Gaming side, and Frosty, from the 1v1 in the top side to the solo 1v3 at the end of the game there, just had a really complete series, I feel, from the Olaf game where they played against Cafe to the self-counter pick with the Pantheon in game number 2, and then this Akali in game number 3. Just absolutely put an exclamation point on the series. And you gotta feel for the Akuma guys a bit, because you know they were feeling they were coming back into the game in that game number 3. I thought that the game was in their hands, and then the dragon play happened. Well, first it was the Rift Herald play, and then it was the dragon play, and then it was the absolute shambolic play in the end there, where again, it looked to be a decent engage, but they didn't keep track well enough of where the Leona and the Lee Sin were, and as a result, they just were split away from their carries, and Wind and Motels were left on their lonesome to defend against the Lee Sin and Leona, and the Akali that came down at the end, but you know, that's for another time. But I mean, just a very nice clean 3-0 and a statement coming out from Dorado Gaming.
Indeed, indeed. We're gonna go ahead and get Joker in here, the support for Dorado Gaming in just a bit. We'll be right back, and then we'll get them in here for that interview. We'll see you guys shortly. Welcome back, everybody, to the Aegis Marauders League. We got Joker, a support for Dorado Gaming, coming in to give us some insight into that 3-0 sweep against Akuma. And Joker, welcome. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
And I want to first start off with what had to have been some of the most fed Nautilus gameplay that we've seen on stream this season. You were was a farming Senna in game, or a farming Nautilus in game one, kept up with it, or kept up to be able to be consistent in CS, and then game two you took all the kills, you secured all the kills. What's it like being fed on a team and giving you the opportunity to carry like that?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, me having all the kills are pretty bad, but since they can't really punish me anyways, like they didn't punish me till like 40 minutes or something like in the game, so it's fine. They kind of stink their bot lane especially, but we'll just leave it at that.
All right, we can leave it at that. And considering the series is now over, this is sort of a half question going into the rest of it. But did you guys have any notes that you feel free sharing with the rest of the Age community? Now that you're done with the Akuma series, any matchup specific notes that you guys might have had?
Like prep?
Like, I don't know, little scouting reports. Maybe target this guy because they'll tilt. Just anything.
Oh no, I mean, I don't think we do that at all. I mean, like maybe if it's like on certain players we probably could, but I think we just play the game to play the game. And
all right, well, I think you guys did a really nice job with your drafts, and game two especially. It seemed seemed a little bit fun to watch, especially when your top laner counterpicked themselves. But I mean, sort of, I guess, take me through that game number 3, because it seemed to be the game that was the closest for Akuma. What was your game plan going into it, and what was it looking like in game once they sort of seemed to have a bit of control?
Okay, I'm gonna be real. I know you guys know that our ADC DC didn't draft, so we couldn't like pick him, so we kind of balled with it. They honestly should have won with their draft. I don't know what they did, to lose all the goals. Like, what was their game plan or whatever? I know, like, maybe in the heat of the moment they're tilted or whatever, but they should have 100% won with their draft. But we just kind of played how we did, and like key members of our teammates got fed, and we're just chilling.
All right, and then I guess my last question for you, or I guess my last question, Moose has one more, I'd imagine, is sort of, this is your first, I think, official split playing support, if I'm not mistaken?
I did play with the CCS roster, but yeah, this would be like the first official.
Okay. Well, just take us through anyone who might be sort of going through, or take us through your experience this past split of what it was like transitioning from AD to support, and sort of any tidbits you might have learned from doing so.
Support is really easy. I think anyone can play it, and if you like suck, I mean, you just fucking blow. That's it.
Okay, sounds good to me, I guess.
Fair enough. Hey, and I mean, if you're good, then you're good, and you guys were good, and I guess that brings me up to my final question for you. In both of the champions that you played with, the Nautilus and the Leona, high engage, high tank, high health, high ability to be able to disrupt. It really felt like you were consistently able to find the right dredge lines, the right zenith blades, the right depth charges at the right times. I really go back to that game too, or that game 1 against the Ahri, for example, where you were able to land the depth charge at the perfect moment in those team fights to make sure that it's able to get the maximum value. But during all of that, there is so much that's going on. How do you maintain your composure? How do you stay focused on what's important in those team fights?
For this one, my team, okay, there's a lot of people talk down on the 2 players, are Nukes and Odin. These guys taught me, like, just send it, and they're always going to be looking anyways. So even if I make a mistake, it's a small mistake, and every mistake that I make, I'll just get better off of it. Like, before we're just kind of like, engaging slowly or whatever, or playing like that. But like they kind of taught me like don't be afraid, just send it, but don't be like an idiot when you do it. You know, like how some people do. But yeah, like I think Nukes and Odin like just taught me just don't be like scared and go. And then they're always following up with it. So yeah, that's
Fair
all I
enough.
can say.
Fair enough. Well, with that being said, thank you so much for stopping by. Do you have any final shout outs you want to give or before we let you go?
It's not really a shout out, but I'm just gonna say Akuma did talk a lot of shit, on our team, saying we're frauds, saying we're bad. But I mean, they got 3-0'd, so I don't know what else, to say. And then for the other teams that are gonna also get gapped by us, just be ready. Like we were looking bad in the pre-split and everyone was flaming, but we're gonna come kicking your asses. That's all I'm gonna say. And then shout out Dorado.
Love it. Well, hey, thanks for stopping by. Congratulations on the win. Best of luck for the remainder of the season.
Thank you.
And with that being said, Septi, any final thoughts? What's going on in the Aegis community here this week?
Well, in response to what Jagger said, sometimes silence can be deafening. But anyway, no, I mean, as always, on Thursdays we got the AEL. We had the semifinals for our Emerald division. It will be Iridescent Dawn Blastcone versus Bing Chillers Emerald. And then on Fridays, stay tuned for both the APL and the ACL, our Plat Gold and our our Uncapped League. We are going to have Maryville B versus Clown Gaming, as well as Literal Monkeys versus Mint Mongoose. Mint Mongoose and Literal Monkeys going into the last week of their regular season, and a week 5 matchup of the ACL. And then if you want even more and more content for yourselves in the League of Legends space, on Mondays we have the ADL, our Diamond League, and that will be Northeastern Club Esports versus Noosphere Gaming Myth, and that will be the quarterfinals of the ADL League. With that said, though, Moose, I am so happy for the stream. I am not going to take off my sweatshirt, Sluter, for no reason. Yeah, no, it was an interesting series. It definitely was eye-opening, because we definitely got to see maybe sort of what the scary parts of the Shurima division might be.
Yeah, I mean, terrifying. Shurima is terrifying for sure. And I'm getting word that potentially Ionia could be completely out of this tournament.
Did Flay just say that Ionia went 0-12?
Yeah, and that would be incredible if that happened. Absolutely insane. But we will find out next week if that is going to end up being the case. There is still one more game going on. With that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching. Really appreciate you guys stopping by. Be sure to follow and subscribe to the Twitch channel. Join the Discord to stay up to date on all of the action here. I've been Moose, joined by Septi and Wookie Monster behind the scenes. Have a great rest of your night. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you guys next week for the quarterfinals. Take care.
And I'm so scared of getting used to this. All the vines that keep you tethered.